Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
A little disappointed. I knew Marcel wasn't going to get invited to New York. Kind of still wanted it. I was like, maybe, just in case. Send the show on the road to New York. Maybe.
That would have been nice. Huh?
At least this year.
Yeah, you got to play. You got to play big in the biggest games.
Mendoza played big in the biggest games.
He did. That's why he's going to win it, I think.
Yeah. I think before the
Not
Big
saying
Ten
who
championship, I was leaning towards Pavia. If I had a vote, I don't have one. Thanks, Obi. Thanks for nominating me. If I had a vote, it would have probably gone to Pavia. I might be back on the. You have a joke coming?
No, I was just laughing.
You have nothing to do with
There's
that.
no nominations, but okay.
I nominate David Nuño.
Yeah, sure I would.
But you have to be you have to be invited, right?
Yeah, and there's a person that's kind of local that's in charge of all that.
Yeah. Well, that guy. I'm coming after him. Anyway, right now your finalists are Jeremiah Love, Fernando Mendoza, Diego Pavia, and Julian Sayin. Movie line phone, whatever movie phone. Remember that back in the day?
Movie phone?
When you would call a phone number.
Yeah. And they tell you what's on?
At 9 o'clock.
Yeah, sure, I remember.
Rocky 4.
Do they not do that anymore?
I don't think they do movie phone anymore.
Oh, okay.
The kids in here are like, what are they talking about?
I remember when you called and get the time and temperature.
That's right.
Yeah. I guess they probably don't do that anymore.
I don't think so. I just asked Google.
Yeah.
Anyway, what do you think? Jeremiah Love,
I think Jeremiah Love might be not even might be. Jeremiah Love's the best pro prospect of all of them, right? This guy's going to have the best pro career, I believe. But it's not about that. I don't see how. I mean, last year we had a guy who was a running back, rushed for 2,600 yards and didn't win.
Right.
And this guy rushed for 13, and he's great. But he rushed for 1,300 yards. Okay, not bad. And he was under, if I'm not mistaken, he was under 100 yards in half of the games. That just doesn't scream Heisman Trophy to me. But he plays for Notre Dame.
Yeah. What about the other Jeremiah? Surprised he didn't get invited?
Smith?
Yeah.
He had some games that I don't know that his season was a Heisman Trophy type season.
I think both Jeremiah's reputation bigger than their output this year.
This year.
Yes.
Yes, I'll agree.
I don't think that means that they're not the same caliber of player either.
Jeremiah Smith will probably be the first player taken in the draft next year, or he has a great opportunity to be, because he's that talented. But again, it's not about are you the best player? Who was the most outstanding? And I think you can be the most outstanding without being the best.
Well, look, I think if you break it down like that, the most outstanding player, there's two in my mind from that list. It's Fernando and Diego.
Yeah.
Okay. Both part of the community. And I was leaning one way last week, as I said, but I might be back on Team Cuba.
On Team who?
Cuba. I might be back on the Fernando team.
I don't know how you can't be impressed with
Indiana is undefeated, Big Ten champs.
Right. And then the game. Ohio State's supposed to be the best defense in the country, right?
Yeah.
And he went out and made some big plays. So some of them weren't necessarily, they were like Cam Newton weaving through the LSU secondary on a
different
50-yard run, but he made the plays to bring Indiana over Ohio State.
13-0, 2,980 yards, 33 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, 71.5% completion percentage.
Yeah, I mean, heck of a year. Now, look, was a lot of it done against poor teams? Yeah. But then he answered that question by having a good game against
the number one team in the country.
I was talking, though, because you were talking about Marcel. And Marcel, I'm not going to tell you who I voted for, but I didn't have Marcel on my ballot. Okay? Even though, I felt like he was a Heisman contender up until a strong contender, maybe even later, up until the Texas game. But you got to play you got to be biggest in the big games. But I was talking to a guy I respect who said Marcel didn't have any Heisman moments. I thought, what are you talking about? I can think of 3 off the top of my head. The touchdown pass against Notre Dame.
Forfeiture, yep.
He said, that was too early. What? Too early? And then one was, I said, the 41-yard touchdown run against the scramble against LSU. And then, of course, the second half against South Carolina. But you still have to, it's just required. You have to have a big game against you have to play big in the big games. And what you can't do is have multiple turnovers. That's what killed Tyler Smith.
If those last couple of drives against Texas
Simpson
would have ended up in touchdowns, right? Instead of interceptions. And they won. He might be your leader.
He very well could be.
But he'd be in New York.
Oh, yeah.
Those 2 drives right there, I think, cost him his trip.
It did. That doesn't mean to say he hadn't had a heck of a year. And next year, don't be surprised if the 2 top contenders moving into the season are Marcel Reed and Arch Manning.
I already can see it. Dave Campbell's magazine, the cover with Vince Young and Reggie McNeil, done again with Arch and Marcel.
With a Heisman. Maybe they're both doing Heisman poses or, grappling at it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Could be.
Could. I'm happy he's coming back. He said that to RG3.
Yeah, I am too.
I do find it so. I'm struggling with the change in college sports where you have to announce that you're coming back. It is what it is now. But that's where we are. We're in a world where, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, I have an announcement. I am staying at my job at TexAgs.
Yeah.
I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you're interested.
But I mean,
that's where we are.
That's where we are.
And that's everybody, by the way. It's not, Marcel was asked the question. He didn't make an announcement. He answered a question by RG3.
I would think a guy like Marcel, whose NFL teams are going to be wary of because of his size, a guy like a lot of quarterbacks, I'm not going to compare Marcel to Nico, but he's better. But those guys, I think, should stay in school for their entire 4 years. Now that you can get paid.
Yes.
So make a lot of money. The NFL's still going to be there because if you leave, when you have great earning potential now in college, you might sacrifice that earning potential and then not make a team.
Yep.
And then, hey, you just blew a chance to make an extra couple $1 million.
And I also think it's not just for the smaller guys or the quarterbacks. This is anybody, any tweener that you can go from a 4th-round pick. Maybe 1 year you go to a 3rd-round pick. You go from a 3rd-round pick maybe to a 2nd-round pick. Could Cassius Howell have come out last year? Probably.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think he would have had the cachet that he has right now.
No, not enough cachet for Cassius in that situation. But Cassius has a lot of cachet now, and he's going to get a lot of cash.
What else can we say about that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I run out of things.
But you know what? Back in the day, he's still playing. Trent Williams. He was at Oklahoma, and everybody thought he was going to leave after his junior year.
Right.
And he stayed because Stoops convinced him that he's probably going to be a 3rd-round pick, but if he stayed with a good year, he'd be a 1st-round pick, and he'd actually have more earning potential. He'd make more money by staying. And Trent Williams bought it, and what do you know, he did.
It worked out. Look, there's a couple guys on that roster. I hate to be looking at next season, sorry. I'll just do it for a quick second. There's a couple guys on that roster that if you could sprinkle some of that Pavia magic on their eligibility, it would behoove them to come back another year.
It'd certainly behoove me if they would come back, like, I don't know, the Immaculate Concepcion,
Yeah, I think he's not coming back.
I don't think so.
I think he's probably a first round.
But
pick.
I'd like to sprinkle some magic. I mean, he has more magic than Pavia.
Yeah. I'd like to see that. I wouldn't mind somehow finding a way to keep Le'Veon another year. I don't know if that's possible, but
I think that's not. But yeah, I mean, and pay him well. He's got 2 boys to take care of.
hey, let's listen to Mike Elko because
Okay.
we're talking quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We're taking on one. We are. Texas A&M has taken on one that at one point was in the Heisman conversation. Was he ever on your list
Yes, he was
for
early.
the first few weeks, right?
I think I probably had him number 1 after the first week because he had 2 big touchdown passes and a win over Notre Dame.
Yeah. Well, here's Mike Elko talking about Carson Beck's game.
Yeah, I think he's an extremely talented quarterback. I think you see that throughout the year. Obviously, he does a really, really good job of delivering the football. They got a really explosive passing attack, different variety of screens, short game, pushing the ball down the field, and I think he delivers it all very well, very accurate. They're very talented at wide receiver, and obviously trying to figure out a way to get that out of rhythm will be critical. Not a lot of teams have been successful doing that, and so have to go to work and come up with a good plan on how to try to create a little bit of indecision for him and at least try to muddy the waters a little bit as best we can.
The key to stopping Carson Beck, in my opinion, is not allowing that team to run the way Texas ran on you. Because I think 3rd and short, he's going to be able to get you, right? 3rd and 8, make him, a little bit more of a statue compared to some of the last quarterbacks A&M has faced. I think Cassius Howell and company could have a field day. Yeah,
you're going to have to pressure him, put him in what A&M's done most of the year. Win 1st and 2nd down, put him in 3rd and long, and let Cassius rush and Elko come up with some exotics and the blitzes and things like that and see if you can't make his life uncomfortable.
I haven't watched enough of Miami games to know, but we'll talk about this in the next segment. But is this, I forget how Elko phrased it yesterday, but is this the best? I think he talked about the edges. He said this is the best edges.
Best defensive ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But is this, defensively, is it the best defense they faced?
Man, I thought Auburn was good. I thought Florida was pretty good on defense.
Yeah. Texas was pretty good.
Texas was
pretty darn good.
They were that day for sure.
Yeah.
You got Colin Simmons coming at you. I don't know. I can't remember who the other guy was, but you start with Colin Simmons, you're pretty good on the edge. You know what? You can probably make that argument. I'm not going to.
I didn't realize Miami averaged 44 points a game.
Yeah, good offense.
Yeah. But who's the best defense they've faced?
Notre Dame.
Yeah. And would you say A&M's defense is better than Notre Dame's? I don't know.
I would.
You would?
I would. I think A&M's played. I think their defense has. Now is again the long run's the kryptonite, right?
Right.
But look, all you got to do is look at 3rd down defense.
Yeah.
Now Notre Dame will force turnovers, and A&M doesn't.
That's one thing that just baffles me.
It is for a team. Again, we talked about it yesterday. For a team that's 11-1, to only have what is it? Did we say 9 turnovers all year?
Yeah.
That's turnovers are usually very conducive to winning a lot of games, creating turnovers, and they're doing it despite that.
And turning the ball over yourself is conducive to losing.
A&M doesn't do that much.
No. Hey,
that much.
Tell the people what show they're watching.
This is TexAgs Live, the Go Hour.
Yeah, and TexAgs Live is presented by
a gem of a guy, David Gardner Schulers.
This studio, we call it
This is the Rollo Insurance Studio, Jason Jackson and the boys.
Yep. And this hour, we've labeled it the Go Hour.
The Go Hour, brought to you by the warehouse at CC Creations.
That's right. We are right now having a good time sitting at the
Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
So cool to be in a zone.
Yeah, and nothing's cooler than someone helping you make a whole lot of money.
That's right. If you want to be a part of the conversation, you can do it multiple ways. One way is by calling us on the Buppies Catering and
Bartending
Hotline,
979-693-1150.
By the way, Buppy told me, Nuño, it's the playoffs. I'm bringing you guys food this week and next week.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Buppy is just too good.
He is just a generous person,
He's a generous guy. And I will eat generously.
Yeah.
That's a way to describe it. I don't know if
it is. By the way, you can call that number, 979-693-1150. We go around the room, left to right. Behind the glass is Nick Savage, our director. Nick, good morning, buddy.
Howdy, good morning, y'all.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. More I think about this game next Saturday. I really do think that, Carson Beck, not a runner, I really do think that's going to play a big factor in it just because A&M, we've talked about it already. Y'all talked about it yesterday. Like A&M has handled stationary quarterbacks, I guess, if I'll put it that way, throw first quarterbacks pretty well this season. So I definitely like that matchup.
Talent-wise, though.
Talent-wise, Miami's very good.
One of the more talented teams A&M has faced. And they've faced a lot of talented teams.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm told.
I would venture to guess they're probably in the top 3 of talented teams they have faced.
I guess. I mean, I keep hearing how talented they are, and I don't know. I'm not one of those guys that pores over the
rankings,
the recruiting rankings.
Yeah.
And then does that even matter anymore? All I know is that they're obviously good, but they did lose to SMU, and they did lose to Louisville, and they did struggle with Florida State. So, but hey, anybody can have a bad
game or two,
or a bad month.
Yeah. I hope this is not our bad month.
I hope so too.
Right?
Yeah.
Just saying.
But we're out of November, thankfully.
Yeah. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News. And social censor Justin Baez is there. What's up, brother?
Doing good. How are you guys?
Good, man. What's going on in your world?
Well, so I definitely want to talk about. We're talking about football. We're talking about how we are here in the playoff at 7 seed. And with that, it's been a great year for Mike Elko. So he was named as a finalist for the George Munger Coach of the Year Award, along with Kirk Signetti, Clark Lee, and Joey McGuire from Texas Tech. So it's good company to be in. Obviously, he led the country in third down defense, leading that defense for A&M, getting 3 ranked road wins, which is the most by any coach this season. So good company to be in, good recognition for him.
Did you see Clark Lee's press conference yesterday?
I saw part of it, and I liked what I saw.
Yeah. Well, he basically said, hey, we're not victims. We're 10-2. We didn't do what we had to do to get. We didn't do enough. So we're going to go to our bowl game last time with this team, and we're going to play for each other and have a great time.
Do you think Pavia plays?
Yeah, why not? Why wouldn't you?
I don't know.
He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would opt out.
But I don't know about his agents and his people in his ear.
Well, the agents and people in your ear, they still work for you.
This is true. And didn't I read that he's trying to come back?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we'll see.
It would behoove him to come play then.
I think he's trying to be a doctor. Dr.
Pavia?
Yeah.
What else do you have for us, Justin?
I was just going to talk about a little bit of women's volleyball. Obviously, they took down the Camels. Thank you, OB.
Okay.
They took down TCU, obviously, with his revenge from losing earlier in the season. So great wins there to get them to the Sweet 16. But this weekend is huge, playing against Louisville, and then if they win there, they get to play Nebraska in Lincoln. It's going to be a massive weekend there. So if you are in the area or just want to travel out there, go support women's volleyball.
Are you a Louisville or a Louisville?
Oh, having lived in Nashville, I know it's Louisville.
Louisville.
It's like
Louisville?
No, Louisville. Like
Louisville.
Yeah.
Like VUL. Louisville.
The Lou.
Louisville.
Try again.
Louisville.
I don't know if I liked it.
It's not bad.
I don't think it was good.
Okay.
Try again.
Louisville.
That's better. Anyway,
I'll work on it.
We'll have Jamie Morrison on the program later on today. We'll ask him how he says it.
Well, if he says it the way the people up there say it, he'll say Louisville. And he'll go, Louisville.
Louisville. I think I did say that in the 80s.
Yeah.
Till I was educated. So rumor has it you've been thinking about...
Well, no. Here's what we were thinking. I mean, just today. Thinking about how all the folks at Notre Dame have a beef with the playoff committee.
Yeah.
And they're angry.
Yeah.
Because they're angry because they have a beef. But you know what? Notre Dame, all those Irish, they could be happy if they have a beef with 1775. And that beef I'm talking about is that succulent brisket and everything else. Look, they should pay the price and come down here, get in their car, take their car down to that great house just off to the left, a few miles past the airport. Go in there and have some of that succulent brisket. Taste some of that jalapeno cheese sausage and the pork ribs. And, of course, the queso mac and cheese. I guarantee you they're going to love it. and ask for more. And then what will it do?
After that 1775, they were going to feel free, man.
You guys
But
are awesome. That's what I was going to say. How long did you work on that spot together?
About what? A
30.
minute?
Yeah.
Free, man.
Free, man. Love. Great house.
Price.
Car.
That was fantastic.
Price. More.
Let them.
We thought about, should we put their first names in? And I think people figured it out.
I think Jeremiah would have been a hard one to work in.
I thought that, well, you're going to Jeremiah, I love it. But I thought anyway.
1775.
Even pissed off Notre Dame folks would love it.
1775 txbbq.com 979-492-6241.
And it's good.
Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. We're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. A couple of points about Miami. Look, we got a long time before the game, so we'll be breaking this stuff down throughout the next 8 days or so. But Miami, number 1 in scoring defense in the country.
Okay.
And TFLs.
Wow. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah.
So there should be a lot of TFLs because I'm sure A&M's pretty high on the list of TFLs.
Can you look that up? See where A&M is in comparison to Miami and the rest of the country? Mm-hmm. Just curious about that. One very important thing, though, being I hope there's enough time, is for A&M to get right against the run.
Right.
Now, it has been a problem all season long, but there's been like different levels of how bad it looks, right? There's like a game early on where you have 1 or 2 big runs, and you're like, okay, then you stop it, right? There's an adjustment made, you stop it. But the Missouri game, there was more than 1 or 2 big runs.
There was.
Okay.
Of course, there were
Or at least 2, yeah.
They're a really good running team.
Yeah.
So you're going to understand that they're going to have
That's part of it.
Yeah. What's his name?
Ahmad Hardy.
Hardy. His first run and his last run were both over 40 yards.
Yeah.
The first one I don't think was a touchdown.
But the last one was. Okay. So I think there were some big runs against South Carolina. It was more Lenora Sellers.
Really?
That one that we couldn't tackle the running back. I don't remember the exact number or player that is, but
I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying it doesn't stand out to me.
Okay. And Texas.
Well, Texas, I keep going to Arkansas. Arkansas, they're running.
There was
like
a
crazy.
huge run problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. Looking at what South Carolina did, they only rushed for 121 yards, so I'm wrong there. Their longest run of the game was 22 from Faison. That was it. So no, you're right. It was not a problem.
Maybe you're thinking about Arkansas.
Arkansas was absolutely a problem. They rushed for over 200 yards.
Yeah, and a big part of it was Taylor Green.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Carson Beck's going to run the rushing threat that Taylor Green is.
I don't either.
But they are obviously capable of running the football. So A&M, your concern is justified.
Yeah, and then another thing that I would say that I am concerned about is A&M's running game. Okay.
Yeah.
Against Texas, they did rush for 157 yards. Okay, that's good. 71 of those from Marcel. Ruben Owens had 48. I think Ruben could have had 100 in that game, but
had one
he
where
kept tripping and stumbling.
Long run and
Right.
tripped.
And then against Arkansas, they did not run the ball well either. But they were also in pass attack mode the entire second half. That's part of the reason. That doesn't tell the whole story. Did you get the rankings for me?
Yeah, so A&M is second in tackles for loss.
Oh, look at that.
In the country. Yeah, just behind Oklahoma.
So Miami wasn't number 1 in TFLs then?
No, they're 19th.
Okay. Well, I wonder where that stat came from. Okay. So 19th in TFLs to A&M number 1.
Number 2.
Number 2, sorry.
Still, a lot of tackles for loss.
Yeah, Miami must be number 1 in the ACC.
I bet that's it.
Yeah. And that's a different caliber of competition.
It is, but it doesn't, as we know, just because it's kind of like Texas Tech, right? Are they good? Yeah, I think they're good.
Yep.
Do they benefit from playing a weak schedule? Sure, but they're still good. They're good enough to beat you. Now, if they played in the SEC, either one of them, you might tack another loss or 2 on them. So Texas Tech went 11-1. They may be 10-2.
Right.
Miami might be 9-3 because, even the Texas people, I've heard Billy talk about this, the Texas people that for years would just dismiss, oh yeah, you talk about how strong the SEC is, yeah, big deal, but it's not. And then they get in here and say, oh yeah, the problem is every week somebody can beat you.
You can just look at NFL draft picks every year, including this year, and compare what South Carolina might lose to what the 14th best team in the Big 12 is, right? Like you can do it, and it just does not add up. Same with the Big 10.
Yeah, it's true. They've got the Big 10 has what I think are 2 really good teams. Great teams. One really good, and then a couple of pretty good. Talking USC and Iowa, pretty good. And then maybe Illinois and
Michigan.
Michigan. They find that tier.
What has Michigan done?
Nothing.
Beat other Big Ten teams.
Mhm.
So I'm not that sold on Michigan. I think Michigan. I'll put them in the pretty good
category,
and then a bunch of scraps.
How would Florida have done in the Big Ten this year?
Probably 7-5.
How would they have done in the Big 12?
Probably 8-4.
Okay.
Again, a big part of it depends on who you're playing.
Yeah.
Are you gonna, if the Big Ten, am I gonna pull Ohio State and Oregon and Indiana if I miss those? Do I get to play Rutgers and UCLA and
Maryland?
Maryland,
Do you think if Ohio State and Indiana played 2 more times?
I would
best of 3 series. Let's just say I think I'd still take Ohio State.
I would pick Ohio State
Me too.
every time. But Ryan Day's got to make some smarter choices as a coach.
Signetti is pretty darn good, man.
He's a good coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google him.
I just did.
He's a good coach.
Yeah, and look, I
makes
think
good decisions.
his bravado seemed like, shut up, dude. You're at Indiana. And really what he has done, like what Pavia has done and Clark Lee have done at Vanderbilt might be the biggest, like, what in the world has happened to college football? Indiana might be just as big when you consider what the last 30 years have looked for Indiana football.
Well, I think in my opinion, the more impressive thing, accomplishment is what Vanderbilt's done. But Indiana's a close second, just because, again, we're talking about the SEC and it's a tougher conference. But I'm with you. I thought Signetti was kind of a comic relief last year. Google me. I win. Google me.
Yeah.
And then, they're winning. You're like, yeah, you are, but you're beating nobody. And then they lost in the playoff. And I doubted them. In fact, I lost a 3-team parlay because I took Illinois. And then they just trounced Illinois, like 65 something. And then you have to say, you know what? All right, this guy's legitimate. And then I actually watched him play, and he does it as a coach. Seem to make it, his decisions that he make all seem to be very sound and then effective.
Right.
Well, unlike some of the things that the Ohio State they did in that game, like. The first time he went for it on 4th down and they didn't kick a field goal and they didn't get it, I thought, why are you not kicking a field goal? And then the second time, he does kick the field goal that they missed when go for the win there.
Right.
Anyway, things about him I don't understand.
So it's interesting you bringing that up about Day because I think he's obviously a very good coach for what they've been able to do. And maybe coach can be used in different ways. Doesn't necessarily mean tactician. He's good with his talent. He's won a national championship. He's going to get props from me, right? Larry Coker gets props for winning a national championship.
Slow down.
He won a national championship. Jimbo won a national championship.
Slow down.
So I'm going to give you props for
Ed Orgeron won a national championship. Go Tigers.
Managing talent during. Okay, so you're going to get. But when I look at Ryan Day, and it's the same thing with Cristobal. I like Cristobal. I like him.
He seems a very likable guy.
He is Cuban, by the way.
Oh, I did not know that. Kidding. I do like him, but I also think sometimes his decision making is why Miami loses games.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, and like Ryan Day. So and I think Ryan Day is excellent. Maybe not the same level of decision making as we've seen Cristobal, but I mean, Cristobal obviously has recruited well wherever he's gone. He won at FIU. I mean, won-ish. Didn't he win-ish?
Yeah. I mean,
as much as you can win at FIU.
If you get a winning record at FIU,
you've had a good year. Yeah.
Look, is he a great coach? I'd say no. Is he a good coach? I'd say yes. You can't be a great coach and lose that game against Georgia Tech a couple years ago when all they had to do was take a knee. Yeah. Well, they did fumble and then Haynes threw a touchdown pass on the next play.
Was that last season? Or?
It's either last year or the year before.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do stuff like that. But maybe he learned from it. And you're right, he does recruit well. He's got a good team.
But that's why all things even, let's just say Miami and A&M are considered even. Okay? Kyle Field, A&M. Mike Elko, A&M.
I agree.
That's how I look at it. And that does not mean, but in years past, against a team like Miami, let's say, and we should probably hit a break a long time ago, I don't think that the speed is as different as it used to be. In fact, you might say A&M has as much or more speed.
Might be. That Tony kid's pretty fast.
He is darn fast.
He's darn good.
And he's 19.
He's 19.
Let's hit a break here. Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're ready to take your operation to the next level, what you need to do is check out caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. They've got all their selection of vehicles on their website. Get familiar with what they have, the pricing as well. And when you go there, take your car, check in the trade-in value because they have fantastic trade-in value at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They are a business elite dealer, which means they understand what it takes to keep your company moving forward. And remember this, when you purchase a vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet, you're going to get that free oil change for life as long as you own that vehicle. Remember, it's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, Dad, you look pretty good today. From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. And we're back. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Go Hour, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. He's Olin, I'm David. And the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline has our dear friend, Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk, and, of course, the Aggie Hall of Famer. Charean, good morning.
Good morning. How are two of my favorite people doing today?
I'm doing great.
I'm doing fantastic, Charean. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Hanging in there.
Hey, the Eagles lost. It's a great day.
Yes.
Hey, Charean, let's talk about A&M not falling to 7 because they were 7 last time I spoke to you, but staying at 7 and getting Miami. What are your thoughts on the matchup?
Well, I have a theory that because A&M, we all know, I mean, and it's not just an Aggie bias. Just if you base it on everything, A&M should have been 6, maybe 5, but I would argue 6, and that's where they should have been. My theory is if we think that there's an SEC ESPN bias, and I think there's something to that. ESPN puts a lot of money into the SEC, and they kind of run this thing. So if we consider all that, I think they wanted Ole Miss to assure Ole Miss got a win in the first round and made it to that second round with Lane Kiffin leaving. I think they wanted to make sure that they thought A&M had a better chance of winning that 7 games than Ole Miss did, and you get those two SEC teams advancing. That's my theory on it, because there's no reason Ole Miss should have been ranked ahead of A&M. And especially based on the precedent of leaving Florida State out after, and I know it's a different committee, but leaving Florida State out a couple years ago after they lost their quarterback, well, shoot, this team lost their coaching staff. So it's really weird to me that A&M ended up 7 and not 6, but it's going to be an exciting game. I know that at Kyle Field, but it is a difficult challenge after losing to Texas and what the committee did to them after they lost to Texas.
Yeah, I was always kind of actually the one thing is why they're behind Oregon. Who did Oregon beat? Now you could argue that Oregon had a more impressive or least depressive loss.
Yep,
because they lost to Indiana. But who did Oregon beat?
Who's your best win?
USC.
I think so.
I guess. Yeah, I would say that one, and it's taken into account everything. I don't think it's that impressive.
Yeah, I might take Missouri over USC.
Yeah,
definitely would take Notre Dame because Notre Dame did beat USC pretty handily. So why is Oregon ahead of A&M? Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, I think you could argue A&M at 5, and you know what? We'll see how this plays out this year. But I think 5 is where you want to be because you get an easy home game and you really have a better way into the championship game, a better chance to win it. I don't want the long bye. I don't think, and I know you automatically advance. I get it. You risk injury, all those things. But I think at 5, you're going to get an easy win. You keep the momentum going. Again, we'll see how those bye teams come out after a long break. But it's too long of a break. This whole system is everything about this is broken. How long they have in between games, there's just everything about it's broken. They need to change it. They're going up against the NFL. And I don't know what they do or how they do it or how they fix it, but it is in need of a total overhaul in every way, shape, and form.
Well, you just put Hunter Yurachek in charge, and everything will be taken care of.
Okay, I like that.
Put a guy from Arkansas in charge and see what will happen to the Dallas Cowboys. See what will happen to
the college football. Charean, I think there's an appropriate amount of whining and. Let me see how I can rephrase this. I think Notre Dame has a complete beef, for the lack of a better word, about how things took place over the weekend. I also think the committee got it right that they're not in, even though I think that they were, in a way, misled. But I don't love the whining at all. And I think the way Vanderbilt has handled it, for instance, Clark Lee, the way he's handled it, is the right way. Let other people whine for you. What do you think about the way Notre Dame has whined about getting left out?
Yeah, agreed. Completely agree. It's gotten old, and they have a legitimate beef, and make your case that we thought we should have been in, but then pack it up and to go home and not play in the bowl game, and and do what they've done since, and kind of make the rounds of the TV circuit to state your case. I don't know that I agree with exactly how they've handled this thing. I thought Vanderbilt handled it beautifully. They had a case to make that they should be in, and they unfortunately they realized that they should have won couple of those games, one or more of those games that they lost, and they had an opportunity to do that. And if they had done that, they would be in the playoffs. So I think they've handled it great. Texas has whined quite a bit. Before it came out, they did their whining too. So it is what it is. And until the system's fixed, this is what's going to happen every single year. And people say, well, just make the field bigger. It's not going to stop the arguments. We're going to be at the same point. I mean, just go down and see who would have been in and who would have been left out. We would have been at the same point just farther down the road of arguing over which teams didn't get in, which teams did get in, who should have gotten in, who should have been left out. And so that's not going to end it by expanding the field. I don't know that that's the answer. But again, they've got to do something. It is a broken system.
I missed a lot of that because my
headset went out.
Went out, but it is a broken system. I heard that part. I don't know how you fix it, except get smarter people on the committee.
Charean, could we,
or get rid of the committee?
Could we just get rid of opinions, right, and just actually have I know what we're used to a certain college football style, but you know what? This is how you make the playoffs. You're one of the top two in your conference, and yada yada yada. Is there a future professional model, at least for postseason, that you see happening in college football?
Maybe that's the answer. They figure out some way to do that. Maybe it's all conference games. Maybe you don't play a non-conference schedule. Just play a conference schedule. And hey, if you don't have whatever number of conference games you play is the number of conference. In other words, if you don't have I don't know how many teams the Big 12 has, even though they're called the Big 12. But however many games teams are in your conference, let's just play all conference schedules. And that's it. That's how you decide it. The top teams in the conference go. That's it. And then you don't have to worry about, other teams outside the con. Then we'll go match up after that. Maybe that's the way you do it. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but there's got to be a better way. And frankly, now playing nobody wants to play. I know you want to win a conference championship. I get that. But realistically, no one wants to play in that game. You're risking more injuries for really nothing. And I mean, I didn't think Ohio State was all that broken up about losing their championship game. That's not what they're after. And it's just an additional game to risk injuries to your best players. And, you saw Fernando take that hit on the very first play. And it could have been, I thought it was really bad when he got hit. And I thought his shoulder was jacked up. And if that had been the case, I think we would see really a big outcry of let's get rid of the conference championship games. They make too much money on them. That's why they're still there, but they need to get rid of them. Let's go on. Let's start the playoffs earlier. Then you don't go up against the NFL. Let's get the playoffs rolling. If you want to expand the field, that's fine. But get the playoffs rolling. The playoffs should be going this weekend. They should have been going last weekend. Forget the SEC championship. Forget all those things. Let's just get the thing rolling. And you decided on, hey, if it's what they do in other sports. If everybody has one, if their 4 teams have one loss, then hey, guess what? 4 teams are co-champions of the conference. Who cares? That's not what you're after. At this point, you're after a national championship.
Sure, we got to hit a break, but I'll ask you quickly about how are our Aggies looking in the NFL?
Yeah, I'll go with 3 real quick. There's some concerns about Nnamdi Madubuike and his future. Apparently, it's not just his injury, so we'll see. We're going to keep an eye on that and where he stands. Devon Achane had a great game, was on his way maybe to a team record. He had 92 yards, I think of 7 carries initially, and then he got a little rib injury. X-rays were negative. He's okay. He will play on Monday night. Hopefully we see him have another big game. Over 1,000 yards, first time in his career. He's had an absolutely fabulous year. And then Myles Garrett now had another sack and is within 3 of the NFL record. I think we're going to see that record fall. and we'll have an Aggie at the top of the record books. And I should mention Richmond Webb, semifinalist for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and I had him on my ballot as one of my 15 voted to the finalists. So we're going to find out the finalists here coming up in a couple of weeks. They haven't set a specific date, but let's keep our fingers crossed that Richmond Webb makes it to the final 15 for the first time.
Charean, appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. The Go Hour coming to a close, presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Any final thoughts, Sophie?
Well, we've been talking about how messed up the committee is, and they did a poor job. But like we said before, the Aggies are in. That's all that matters. Could they have been fifth? Yeah, you can make a really strong argument, but I'm not going to be that guy that's going to whine over that like other people are whining. Just focus on beating Miami, and that's going to be we're going to be diving in deeper.
Yeah.
And there's going to be some really interesting matchups, individual matchups.
Duck camp. I'm not wearing any duck camp today.
I'm not today.
That's all right. The duck camp gear, built for the outdoors, designed for everything else, which means you can go outdoors when it's super cold like it was this morning, at 33 degrees I think it was when I went out there. And you can wear it to church, you can wear it to the gym, you can wear duck camp anywhere.
I like to space out my duck camp a little bit. I may show up with some duck camp tomorrow. Probably will.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You should start wearing your duck camp hat on the show every once in a while.
Okay. I'll put
I'm not a big hat on the show guy, but...
I'm not a hat guy, but okay.
You ever wear your hat backwards? I can't imagine.
Yeah, I do, actually.
Do you really?
Sometimes, yeah.
Oh. I did it once on Luchador, and people lost their minds.
Why?
How dare he wear his hat backwards?
King
Griffey.
Sometimes I put it on sideways, like I'm a Beastie Boy. Because I'm going to fight for my right to party.
We'll be back. And we are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for our weekly conversation with Josh Pate, brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. For the most festive gear of the year, and it's back at Academy Sports and Outdoors, don't miss the limited edition Magellan Outdoor Christmas Market Collection only at Academy. Get exclusive 2025 gear and gifts for all of your holiday parties, fun family photos, and Christmas morning traditions. Check out the entire collection from the matching PJs and the holiday print fishing shirts, dresses to exclusive new Mossy Oak Snowdrift camo styles, and much more. Shop in-store or at academy.com. And if you need it fast, get same-day delivery powered by DoorDash. Let your holiday fun begin with the Magellan Outdoor Christmas Market Collection only at Academy. And with that, we go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Josh Pate with us. What's up, Josh?
David, I've never done drugs in my life. I'm all for the war on drugs. There needs to be a war on this stuff, though.
What is
the Christmas popcorn? Because people load you up with it in lieu of getting you a real present at Christmas. And I'm eating this stuff for breakfast right now. And I know I'm not supposed to be doing it, but it's just there. We just got mountains of it. So it's either eat it for breakfast or go to waste. So I'm on a slippery slope right now.
I'm not big into that, except the caramel popcorn.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, and they're mixing Oreo chocolate in with it this year too.
No.
So it's a tough time.
So let's kind of look at college football and
please,
and be like, I feel like no matter what they do, more questions happen, right? Like, so when it was just 2 teams, well, 4 will fix it. When it's 4, well, 12 will fix it. It's 12 now. The bowl system means nothing. Everybody's opting out. And this team should be in, but this team and this show shows you that this team should be ranked this, and they're going to be in the playoffs. But, oh, no, they're not. Like, there's more problems now, Josh.
Yes. Okay, so the larger the playoff field gets, just like the bigger the bubble gets, the more teams it touches, not only teams that fit in it, but teams that would be close to fitting in it. And therefore, you have infinitely more sets of arguments. And so you just go down this race to the bottom of the barrel, basically, that you never get to. There is no bottom to the barrel, but you just continue to go down and down and down. And it's like in the ocean, oh man, this water pressure hurts my ears. Well, let me dive a little deeper. Well, no one would ever say that. But in the college football world, we don't exercise sound logic. So we continue to make the field bigger. Or to give you a parenting metaphor, and I don't have children yet, so of course I'm an expert on this, but if a kid's laying on the ground, stomping and kicking and screaming, you hand him the lollipop. And he may temporarily stop kicking and screaming, but what kind of behavior have you reinforced down the road? What are you going to get more of down the road? That's how I've kind of looked at this whole playoff thing. It's impossible to have a logic-based, reasoned-based conversation about this. Because the moment you ask someone to give you their attention for more than 13 seconds, they interrupt you, they fly off into hysterics, they fall into the whataboutism trap and comparative arguments and disingenuous point, counterpoint, pro, con. And so I can't say I've removed myself from it. I'm talking to you about it right now. I've talked about it on my show. I've done more hits about it this morning. It just gets so exhausting, though, relatively speaking. I mean, it's not that exhausting to talk, but it gets so exhausting to listen to it because you know, if you're me at least, you know what you were saying 5 years ago when you warned against it and everyone said, no, the big debate is now because we're leaving out teams that deserve a playoff spot. Well, all right, but what happens when you guys expand to 12? What is it you think you're going to solve? Well, then we won't have the problems of like TCU Baylor a few years ago. 2023 Georgia wouldn't be left out anymore. That's true. Notre Dame 2025 will. Or Alabama, South Carolina, Ole Miss 2024 will. And you're always going to have G5 inclusion, which is going to be a joke. So you're not solving anything. You're just, in the aggregate, you're creating more argument. And all the while, you have completely took a stick of dynamite to bowl season. It's just not there anymore. I guess for the time being, I'm not saying that about regular season games, but you expand any further than that, and it's to the big detriment of the value of regular season games. So I don't really know where people thought we were going when you expanded the playoff. Because to me, like some stuff is unforeseen, David. This wasn't particularly difficult to see coming.
Well, let's go back to your whining comparison with the child, right? In college football, does whining work, right? Because I got to be honest with you. The way Notre Dame has handled this, while I feel their pain because of what they thought they were, right? What they thought the last rankings meant. While I feel their pain, I think the committee kind of got it right. Sark whined a little bit, but then he kind of course corrected, in my opinion, and had a really good press conference the other day where he's like, we're going to go play in our bowl game and go make the most of it, right? Is this whining going to have another seismic shift to where, all right, I guess we're going to expand to 30. We're going to do 30 teams now. And we're going to fix the bowl system in the middle of it.
It may. It has before, I guess. So it may. To go back to your point a second ago about Notre Dame, I listened to Pete Bavacqua yesterday. Well, here's what happened. It was one of those days where I was really busy, so the first thing I saw were the headlines and the screen grabs and the snapshots and the quote edits. And only hours later did I hear the full context. So, I fall victim to thinking, oh, there goes Notre Dame. There goes the Notre Dame AD making terrible points. Well, then I listened to it at the end of the day. I'm not saying I agreed with every single point that he made, but the general theme of it, I thought he was pretty sound on. I thought logically he was pretty sound on. And I think he was doing something with Barstool or Dan Patrick. He did a lot yesterday. And he made a point that's totally on the money. And he said, we're not necessarily mad at the other teams. We're not even saying that it's, crystallized right or wrong who got in. Of course, we think we should have gotten in, but there are a lot of deserving teams out there, shades of gray, blah, blah, blah. He said, we got a huge issue with the fact that we were led to believe we were in, right up until the point we weren't. And as someone who believes the committee got it right, that's the insane part. That's the totally insane part. Even when in your opinion, even when you think they got it right, they still look terrible because it's like watching the Penn State coaching search. I think Penn State hired the right guy. They stumbled backwards across the finish line and almost landed him by accident. Same thing with Auburn and their coaching search. And it's funny, those two coaching searches look a lot like the playoff process, where I kind of think they got the best combination of teams in there, given what their protocols were. And even getting it right, they look foolish because of the messaging. So, we're in the weeds of it. Like, we're paying attention every day. Occasionally, I'll do this exercise with you where I say, imagine being a big NFL, NBA fan that just kind of watches the big college football games, but you don't really know the intricacies of the sport. And imagine trying to understand what just happened with Notre Dame, Miami. And imagine watching the playoff rankings shows for the past few weeks, but that's really all you watch, and listening to the arguments and seeing the rankings. And then all of a sudden, neither of the teams play on the final weekend of the season, but they jump each other for a reason stated, being head-to-head, that had already existed the entire season, but it didn't come into play until the 11th hour. Total insanity. Total and complete insanity.
Is there a world where the bowl system can be somewhat salvaged, Josh? Can they fix this bowl situation? Or I did a show with Raheel the other day, and yesterday actually, and he was like, they're done. Nobody watches them anyway. Well, somebody's watching them because the networks are paying, but the players aren't playing.
Okay, there's layers to this. People do watch them. You're right. People absolutely watch, and they perform at several X better ratios than whatever the replacement programming would be for those games over the Christmas season. So that's wrong. Yes, people do watch them. Now, are they serving the same purpose they used to? No. Do they have the same entertainment value for people like me and you who watch college football all year? No. Does it have the same romantic quality? I would say absolutely not, when the first headline is who opted out, or in this case, who's even going to the game, period. So the salvage part, I've kind of believed for a few years, is going to have to come at the expense of relocating bowl season to the beginning of the next season, which used to sound so radical. I mean, like a few years ago, that sounded so radical. Now I just think it's where we're going. And I believe that may not be far off, David. It kind of solves a lot of problems. You're already, as conferences like the SEC or the Big Ten, you're already mandating that your member institutions play at least one Power 4 out-of-conference opponent anyway. This probably ends up being the way that you solve that. I know it's going to take some reworking of future schedules and stuff like that, but that can be done. So, yeah, I think what we're going to end up having is week one being your bowl season, for lack of a better term. I don't even know if that's what you call it, but I think that's what it'll be.
Yeah, I've been on this show for a couple of years, been saying I think that's how you fix it, and you do it Labor Day weekend, and you can still have games beforehand, like your tune-up games, but then that big bowl game, your big non-conference game being Labor Day weekend, and that way there are no opt-outs. Like, it all counts towards your season, and it's still a weekend where potentially people can travel and go watch.
Yeah, I think what you said there is important, because there's also probably a world really soon where we move the start of the season up a week. That's just a guess. I don't know that. But I think to make the calendar more palatable and for us not to play into mid-January and fix the recruiting calendar too, I think we may end up moving games up to what is week 0 right now. That could end up being everyone's week 1. And you're right. So that just because you play what would be the bowl games at the beginning of the season, it doesn't mean it has to be the first game you play. The first game you play could be your tune-up game, your Eastern Illinois, your East Texas A&M University or whatever, and then Texas A&M plays Louisville, and then Georgia plays USC in week 2 in the Labor Day weekend. Like, that just becomes a new thing. Labor Day weekend is known as kickoff weekend right now.
Right.
Labor Day weekend would still be the same. It's just kind of, it's bowl weekend. It's college football bowl weekend.
Yeah, I like that. All right, let's get to the matchup with A&M and Miami. I thought I wanted, so from an A&M perspective, I was thinking to myself, I think Alabama is the best matchup for A&M. I recognize their talent, but I know they're hurt, and we'll see how healthy they are in a few weeks. But I just think it's a good matchup. I thought Miami was the next one, and even though A&M had beaten Notre Dame, I was like, Notre Dame's a team I don't really want to face if I don't have to. I know we beat them on the road. So this Miami matchup, I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I think this is a good matchup, and I also think like for where A&M fell to 7, the fact that you get Miami at Kyle Field and then you get Ohio State in the state of Texas. Not saying that you're going to be favored by any stretch, but for being the 7 seed, I think it's kind of worked out pretty well for A&M. Am I right? Am I wrong? How do you see it?
I got to say, I'm not there with you. I look at the athletic profiles. This is kind of how, when you get closer to the game, you break down the individuals. When we're still this far away from the game, or when I'm watching the seeds get unveiled and the bracket come together, what I always think about is I zoom way out and I just start with talent profile. From a talent profile perspective, I talked to a couple of offensive coordinators that ended up in the playoffs, and they kept bringing up Miami, and they were saying, yeah, it's a flawed team. Like, yes, they lost a couple of games this year, but if you assume you get their best when they're in the playoff, if you just assume that, the matchup advantages they can create for themselves defensively are unlike any other team in the playoff. And I said, well, you mean that within reason, right? And they said, no. Miami's defensive personnel at their best present a matchup the likes of which we would not see against any other team in the playoff. That doesn't guarantee anything. What it just means is, especially like if I'm thinking about Texas A&M facing them, they are a top 10 run D. So like if they limit your ability to create third and short situations for you, you just enter yourself into a situation once again where Marcel's got to throw the ball to win games. So he could do that, or it could end up being a -3 turnover day. The good news for A&M is they, I think, should be able to put Miami in a very similar spot, to where I don't think either team has a ton of success running the ball, which means it comes down to quarterback versus quarterback, and then their quarterback's got to be playing on the road in Kyle Field, and that's an entire outfit. That Miami outfit has struggled on the road, the Pitt game notwithstanding. They did play much better late in the year. So, yeah, like A&M opened as the favorite. They should open as the favorite. But if I've got to go through that athletic profile in the first few rounds, that's a big deal. And then my reward is playing Ohio State, and yet again an Ohio State that sort of fumbled in the last game we saw them play, kind of like last year. I got no clue what to expect from them coming out, but yet again, those are two of the best athletic profile teams that exist in this thing, and A&M plays both of them. I don't even know how the bracket shakes out and who they play after that. We'll worry about that when we get there, but I think they got to earn it, man. I think there's a lot of resistance in front of them here.
Yeah, and to be clear, I don't love it because I thought A&M should have been a top 5 seed, right? So
I agree with you, actually.
Yeah. So, but if you're going to be a 7 seed, I'd rather take on a team from the ACC, even though I agree with you 1,000% about their athletic profile. And if you're going to play Ohio State, I'd rather play them at AT&T in Dallas than, at the Rose Bowl. I guess that was more my point.
Yeah. Was that where they played Texas last year?
Yes.
Is that where Ohio? Yeah. So I don't even know how this quantifies itself, but familiarity with the venue. I also think one of the things that caught me off guard this year was a head coach was getting ready to play a game on turf. It was later in the year. I'm not even thinking about the playing surface. And he said, you know what I'm really excited about today? I'm excited that some of our skill guys have only played one game on turf all year, and it was like a lower caliber game where no one even paid attention. And he said, we track everything here. We think we actually have an edge today because of playing surface. And I would just be interested watching like Mario Craver, KC Concepcion, the yards after catch facet of that game with where it would be played. And by the way, imagine the folks in Miami just listening to you and I chop up A&M, Ohio State theoreticals. That's got to be fun for them.
Well, look, I have a lot of respect. I grew up in a home where one of my brothers went to Miami, one of my brothers went to A&M. So I've always respected, and I thought I might go to the U at one point. I have a lot of respect for what they've been able to do, and I like Mario. And I'm not saying A&M's for sure going to win that game. I struggle thinking about their ability to stop the run and their ability to run. And then I think about A&M, who has recently struggled, all season long, really struggled to stop big runs from happening.
Yeah, that's why when I said, I thought I was going to get pushback from you when I said, I think neither team will run the ball particularly well. Because if you just look at the paper, it screams that one team can have a breakout rushing performance. I'm kind of rolling the dice here that with the time off that both of them have had, one of the facets, one of the aspects of that game that will sort of level up at the right time is run defense. And they're not the only two teams I feel that way about, but I really feel that way about them. Now, if I'm wrong about that, rushing, yards per carry, rushing statistics, those become the key to this game, aside from turnovers and whatnot. But outside of that, if I am right about that, that just becomes QB versus QB at that point.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's going to come down to. I think, does Marcel have a game like he had at the end of Notre Dame, at the end of South Carolina, or does he have a game like he had against Texas? To me, that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and you've got a new defensive coordinator there. He's a year in now, a whole year in, but like Corey Heatherman, taking this unit on the road and facing, the best competition that you're going to face all year. That's also, these are two programs actually, but one of them's having to go on the road that just haven't been put in this spot, playing football this late in the season, meaningful football this late in the season. Yeah, that matchup to me, when it popped off the screen, because I thought if they put Bama in, they were going to be 10. So all of a sudden when Bama's 9 and then you've got Miami 10, it kind of shook up all my hypotheticals because I had them penciled out. And I didn't have Miami A&M. I didn't have Alabama, Oklahoma. So I had to rethink it on the fly. And I thought to myself, man, Miami A&M. The only thing I hate is they put it at 11 a.m. instead of giving it the primetime kick the night before like OU Bama got.
All right, I agree with that. Last thing for you, kind of going back to fixing college football. Do you think championship games are going to go away?
Yeah. Yes, I do. I think there's a ton of money invested in them, but I'm not saying what I want to happen. You asked me what I think will happen. They feel like they're on borrowed time. What would have greatly expedited that is if they left Alabama out. I quite literally think the SEC championship would be a bygone product, or either they would redefine what the game is. Look, I know we know what conference championship games are. The top two teams in the conference are playing for the conference championship, and also it ties into the playoff. You can still have a game that weekend, or games, plural, that weekend, that exist, and they're worth a lot of money, and the networks all want them, but they're not classically what a conference championship would have been prior. And that ties into the automatic qualifier format that's out there. The Big Ten's been a big proponent of that. If you expand to 16, yet again, not what I want, but what may happen, I think you don't expand the playoff without redefining conference championship weekend, crystallizing the value of those games, or doing away with those games and replacing them with something else.
Josh, I do want a quick follow-up. Do you think the SEC, based on what I heard, what Kirby said this past week, do you think they're going to maybe look at this 9th game and be like, hold on. And I know coaches don't always get what they want, right? But, hey, let's reevaluate this because we're not getting the value that we thought we would. We're about to add this 9th game. We're still going to have another Power 5 game. Do you think you see maybe the SEC in a year or two say, let's go back to 8?
I think the coaches already are. You can call it soft. You can call it whatever you want to. That league is a different kind of meat grinder than any other league in the country. Big Ten fans always scoff at that. Oh, man, you're bought and paid for. You're an ESPN shill. Like, no, dude, I've got common sense. And in the SEC, I understand the talent doesn't get as concentrated as it does in the Big Ten. It was so glaringly obvious to me, Ohio State, Indiana, watching that game. They benefited so much from not having played each other all year. And in the Big Ten, the talent doesn't get dispersed nearly as much. The SEC is the only conference where a player like Dylan Stewart randomly says, you know what, I want to go play at South Carolina over Georgia or over Florida or over Alabama. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to be a great record team, but you still have to play athletes like Dylan Stewart when you go play them. You got to play athletes like you do at Mississippi State randomly. And so your training room doesn't look any less full the next day because you beat them 21-9, but the collisions were as if you played a top 10 team. And you're going to add one more of those, and Kirby put it perfectly. He said, look at Alabama right now. Look at us. This is our 9th league game that we just played. So to be in this game next year, we would have had to have already played 9, and this will be our 10th one. Plus, we are mandating on ourselves that we play one big out-of-conference game, and we're playing 11 of those. And 10 of them are going to be in conference, and they just I think it is a huge concern. It should be a huge concern. You don't have to be competitively weak to voice those concerns because until you understand that strength of schedule is going to be properly rated, you should have those concerns.
Josh, have a great week, man. Thank you.
Appreciate it, David.
Later, man. Josh Pate there on the Bubby's Catering Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back, kind of chew on some of that for a little bit, and we'll just go around and check some text messages. All right, let's talk about our friends at Guarantee Bank and Trust. They have over a century of experience serving Texas and one of Texas' most respected community banks. Community banking is the way to do it, guys. You can go to the big box places, but you want to know the folks at your bank. You want to make sure that they know your situation, and that's what they do. And in Bryan-College Station, they want to be your community bank. They have 3 great locations across the BCS area. And you got Brandon Sears, their market president, great Aggie. He leads the Bryan-College Station team, so you want to get to know him. But if you are like somebody who does work all around the state, right? You've got 33 great offices in Texas, from East Texas to DFW to Houston to Central Texas, and of course right here in Bryan-College Station. And they want to make local decisions for you, and they want you to know that they're going to know your situation making local decisions. They're growing stronger for their community and their commitment to help the Bryan-College Station market thrive alongside the other Texas homes. And they support financial education, home ownership, local business, you name it. And they are known for their exceptional relationship-based banking, and they want to make sure that they put you first in their decisions. Go check them out. The website is gnty.com. That is gnty.com. It is Guarantee Bank and Trust, division of Glacier Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
What's up, everybody? I'm here to tell you about Fratella Italian Cafe. If anyone knows anything about Italian food, it's me, Billy Lucci. And Fratella has the best Italian food in BCS. Located at 3901 South Texas Avenue, Fratella is known for their handmade pasta dishes and feature lasagna, beef cannelloni, chicken parmesan, chicken fettuccine alfredo, a couple of my favorites, just a big old bowl of plain old spaghetti and some manicotti. Really recommend the manicotti. That's my go-to. And don't walk out of there without trying the fresh, piping hot breadsticks and the homemade in-house cheesecake, which is incredible. It's great for dining in, catering, gift cards, and even shipping, which they do nationwide. Fratella's is Aggie-owned and operated, and it's an official restaurant partner of Texas A&M Athletics. I'll see you there.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. I got to pick a bone. Justin alerted me to something on the premium chat. Ag Engineering 12, who's usually just very polite, kind, said I look like Urkel because I got glasses on. Maybe the plaid, too. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it's a combo.
Bro, you wish Urkel could do these push-ups. I mean, come on, Ag Engineering 12. Post your picture right now. Let me play that game with you. I'm kidding. We've got a couple thoughts I want to get into. First off, Nick Savage, how long ago did I throw out that, it might have been before you were here, that idea of moving the bowl system to Labor Day weekend? How long ago, at least?
It's been a couple years.
Yeah.
You're right. It might have been before I got here. But, yeah, you've been hammering on that for a while. Don't worry. I saw your eyes light up as soon as Josh started talking about it.
I'm just saying, I've been saying it, and like the future commissioner of college football says it, and now that idea is amazing. How about the originator? Probably wasn't me. I think I probably read it somewhere, and I just stole it, made it mine. You know, you can do that sometimes. But, like, the idea of the bowl system, we have to reimagine it. And I don't know why I care so much. Who cares?
You should lead this charge. You should lead this charge.
But, like, I just feel like then everybody that's a 6-win team or whatever gets this bowl game, and if you're not, you play your dumb game anyway, right? Like that. But now we don't have to schedule, right, your non-conference years in advance. It is what it is, and it can determine the future of your season. The bowl game then becomes that big game for the year. Done. The greatest idea ever.
I just thought of a roadblock maybe, and let's talk through this.
Talk through this, please.
So what happens when you have a bad, let's say last year, David Nuño University goes 6-6, and they get like Arkansas State as their Labor Day bowl game, but you go 11-1 the next year, you're on the bubble, and you're going to get knocked for what happened last year. See what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry. So called a hard schedule. Or the reverse. You win the national championship. Everybody graduates, right? Or you're really good. Everybody graduates, and you get beat handily against a team that, well, I guess if you won the national championship, you wouldn't be qualifying for a bowl.
Right.
Right. So
There's
look,
flaws.
I gotta. We can work through it. But my point is, instead of doing it at the end of the year, doing it at the beginning of the year because there's no opt-outs and teams aren't opting out.
I'll say this, David.
It's awesome.
Your idea
it works.
Is better than outright getting rid of bowls.
Because in a way, you're just rebranding that weekend anyway and calling it the Bowls, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have 9 months to worry about who you're going to play. And I don't know. Why not? I guess that's my point. Why not? What do we have over there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center?
Yeah, I got you. So there was a lot of chatter earlier on, at least, about maybe a certain A&M player might have just shot themselves in the foot with Trey Zune making the comment that he doesn't think he is he being Ruben Bain is a threat that we need to worry about. That could be viewed as just some fuel for Miami's defense, especially Ruben Bain, who is right now a consensus top 5 pick in the NFL draft next year. So what are your thoughts with Trey Zune's comments, and is it a mistake that he made that comment?
Probably a mistake, but like I'm not gonna. I think he just spoke. You know, like sometimes we just say things, and you're like. I don't think he meant disrespect by it. I know we got a Canes viewer watching, right? I don't think he meant disrespect by it. I know it comes across that way. I know coaches want less said, but do we all think that like what one person says all of a sudden means that Bain's going to be like, you know, break Batman's back again, right? Do we really think that that's going to happen? Like he's going to be like, that's it.
Yeah, now I'm going to play good.
I want to win. Now I'm going to be so focused for this playoff game. So I don't think it'll just be interesting afterwards if A&M mops the floor with them, what you can point back to say, or if A&M loses and Bain has a big game, you know, like you'll be like, hey, look, Tom Hardy was all over you all game long, right? So anyway, what else? Let's do one more.
Yeah, so actually, let's see what Canes fan said. He had a comment talking about kind of the keys to the game for Miami and A&M, and he says turnovers are key. Will be the key against versus the Canes. The Aggies are committing too many. Plus, they're not likely to sack Beck. He's only been sacked 9 times this season. He gets rid of the ball too quickly. We got to stop the running game. and we haven't done that well all year.
Yeah, look, the first point was about the turnovers. Is that right? Yeah. A&M has to force turnovers, something they haven't been able to do, and Texas A&M can't turn the ball over. You just can't do, right? You are at one and done. You lose, you're done. Right? So you can't be living with some of these mistakes we've had. I see that JD is there, so we'll hit a break. We'll come back. JD PicKell will join us. We'll chit-chat with him about all things college football. I might float my idea back at him, too.
You should.
All right? We'll do it. Right now, we're talking about Aggie Land hydration and injectables. JD's a guy who works out a lot. He should be listening to this. They're an Aggie-owned and operated mobile IV hydration company. Founded a couple years back. Sheldon and Danny are fantastic. They're proud to serve the Bryan College Station area. They've got IV hydration. This is where JD, I don't think he needs Botox. He's too young for that, or weight loss options. Guy's fit. But they do offer all those and the IV hydration. So if you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or a dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. So if you've been outdoors all day, cutting trees down, I don't know who does that anymore, but if you've been working out, going to music festivals, you're just doing your family stuff and you're run down, the right IV and minerals and vitamins can help you make sure that your day feels great. To call, to book an appointment at 979-217-1561. 979-217-1561. It is Aggie Land Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. Little programming update. Just found out that former Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta going to join the show at straight up 10 o'clock, moving Jordan Pugh to 10:20. Jamie Morrison still at 10:35. Right now, we go to the Puppies Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend JD PicKell from On3 joining us. What's up, bro?
How we doing, man? I got to hear a little bit of that intro before the break, and I'm like, I was telling Nick before the break, I got a new lease on life now, dude. The self-esteem is through the roof. I'm ready to rock, man. Like, I'm good to go now.
Hey, so I'm going to bring up this idea that Pate seemed to also like, and I'm going to see if you like it, all right? And Pate brought it up, but I've been talking about it for 3 years. Tell me what you think about it. Great. Do the bowl games, my audience is going to hate me because I'm spending too much time on this. Do the bowl games Labor Day weekend. You know, that's when you do them. That saves the bowl games, okay? You get your non-conference game. It's set up. We find out in January who you're, whenever, like December, hey, this is who you're going to play week 3 of the season, because you move up the season of maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, and then you do Labor Day weekend bowl season. Come on, tell me it's fantastic.
I'm here for it. I'm definitely here for it. I guess the part I'm trying to piece together is like, so this is leading into next season.
Yeah.
So it's the team from the year before.
Qualified.
So it's no longer postseason we're talking about. It's like this is the way you start your year, essentially.
Correct. And here's my thinking about it. The teams aren't playing them in anyway. Like, it's a fake team that plays in half of these bowl games anyway. This will be a real team playing in it. You do Labor Day weekend where families, if they want to go, they can still travel. They still get a few days off of work or school. Boom. Fixes the bowl system and also adds some real intrigue to the beginning of the year.
I'm here for that. I like that actually a lot. I like that a lot. I'm going to throw an idea for you, too, for bowl season. Let the early enrollees have the option to play. Not saying you have to play him. If you got a kid who's like 150 pounds soaking wet wide receiver, we need him to have a few months in the weight room, cool. We don't have to play you. But if it's like, hey, man, like we got a stud running back who's clearly beyond his years physically, get him a couple carries. You know what I'm saying? I mean, who wouldn't have wanted to see Bryce Underwood a little bit last year against Alabama? You know, that's my bowl idea here. If we kept him in the postseason, but I like the Labor Day weekend as well.
Okay, so then hold on. Let me just see when that would work. So that means you're reporting instead of in January, you're reporting December, correct?
Yeah, and I guess it depends too on like I'm not saying it has to be the case, but like if the academic calendar works out to where they are already enrolled in school. Like we're trying to say bowl games here.
Right.
Let's get some of those 5-star freshmen on the field. I'd at least have the option to. I'd be here for that idea.
JD, what do you think about this matchup with Miami for A&M in the first round?
I think if you're A&M, you feel like you were a little bit gypped out of the matchup you wanted to have, hopefully having a first round bye and maybe being a top 6 seed. And instead you got a team that's one of the best line of scrimmage teams in college football coming to you. You have a quarterback who is, to call a spade here, he's hot right now like Hansel. Like they're rolling right now, is Miami. And I think also, too, Miami's got a little bit of probably the most of a point to prove of anyone in this first round of the college football playoff, saying that they should be, and now they got a chance to kind of prove it. So if I'm A&M again, I'm like, how did we draw Miami? Like this was not what we had in the cards. I think not to bury the lead here, give away the game pick, but I think that if you look at the way this game could go, to me it comes down to which quarterback do I trust more to not make the mistake, and which quarterback can win in more ways. And to me, I lean Marcel Reed there. We're going to talk about it on our show as well. But yeah, there's no result here that would enormously surprise me in Miami A&M.
JD, had you told me that A&M drew Miami, I don't know, the day before the Texas game or the day after the Texas game, I would have been irate. I would have been like, what the bleep? Like, what's right? But once the committee decided that they were the 7 seed, right, I didn't see a world where they were going to move up. I hoped. I was like, maybe they'll be smart. Maybe they'll fix things like they fixed with Notre Dame and Miami. Maybe they'll be smart. But I kind of was like, all right, it is what it is. I would have much preferred having a bye. Of course, I would have much preferred to take on a group of 5. But here's, I think, even though I recognize Miami's ability to go toe-for-toe for you from a talent perspective and the way they play the game is definitely scary, you beat a Miami team. I think the confidence you get from that and proving some of the doubters wrong, like, hey, who have they beat? Well, now they've beat Miami and they beat Notre Dame, right? And I think that is different than your first matchup waiting, taking on a group of 5 team, no one's going to believe in you if you do that, like whatever. Or if your first matchup is you're waiting. So the way I kind of look at it is I don't love it because I'm November 30th, David hates it. But, December 9th, David is like, look, I don't love it, but I don't hate it. And I don't hate the fact that if you're able to win, you get to play Ohio State. I don't love that, but you get to play them in Texas. The fact you get to play them in I'm just saying, like, for where you are in the 7 seed, it could be worse. And it's pretty bad. But it could be worse.
I think if there was a team you had to pick to have the hardest path in the college football playoff to a national title, I think A&M is most suited for that. Because we could say this too, David, like going back to the regular season, A&M has kind of been a team that's thrived off of momentum. Like to what you just said, if you can beat Miami and then you go and play in Ohio State, you're viewing yourself differently on the line of scrimmage. You probably have more confidence in what you're doing offensively and how you match up on the defensive side. Like, I think A&M was a drastically different team post Notre Dame and post Auburn, and I don't think that's a coincidence because of the nature they won those games and the different styles they won those games and the opponents they were, quite frankly. Everyone wants to dunk on Auburn and Hugh Freeze gets fired and all this. It's like Auburn still got a top 25 defense in college football, and so to find a way to win ugly, I think, again, to your point, is perfect. If you beat Miami, momentum is rolling, confidence is up. And also to put another point on this, like Mike Elko, you can tell him playing the Kansas City Chiefs, he'd be like, cool, what time? He doesn't care. He's numb to the moment. So the head coach, the profile of the team, the way they handle momentum, if you can beat Miami, it's on.
JD, we've probably talked about this on the show before, but I'll just bring it up. To kind of look at A&M's resume this year, I think people, and this happens, you lose, you think about the most recent game, and it hurts a lot longer than a win feels good, right? But I'm a believer, and I think most people who are trying to be objective, not trying to make a case for their team, would say when you beat a team, you beat that team on that day, right? So who Auburn was on that day, who Florida was on that day, who Notre Dame was on that day, and at that day, you could say Notre Dame's gotten better. Okay, I believe that, but on that day they were a top 10 team, so or whatever they were, 12th, whatever they were in the rankings, right? So. I hate how people love to take away some of your shine based on what happened after. When A&M beat LSU, they were a top 15 team. They were not the same LSU team after that. That LSU team that started the season is not the LSU team that we saw at the end of the season.
You could say the same thing about the Texas loss. Like everyone dunks on Texas because they lost to Florida and how bad they looked the first month. It's like, I think if you put Texas in the college football playoff, which I know is going to get me in trouble being here on TexAgs airwaves, if you did put them in the playoff, they probably could have won a game or two. Texas was hot towards the end of the year. Arch Manning kind of found his footing. That defense was rolling. So to your point, assessing those wins, I think when you also assess that loss to Texas, it sucks to finish the year with a loss and to lose to your rival. But at the same exact time, there's no way in my mind to point that loss at Texas as a quote unquote bad loss because of who Texas was.
No, it's a bad loss because you lost to your rival and it cost you a chance to Atlanta. Silver lining guy. Everybody wants to be silver lining guy. Hey, I want to feel better about my loss. Better is you get healthy, right? And so that hopefully you get healthy and hopefully you get Le'Veon Moss back.
And then the other point too here for me, David, is we saw Oregon at the end of last year, undefeated, win the Big Ten. They're the number 1 seed. Their reward is they get to play Ohio State for their first game in the playoffs, so not much of a reward. But I couldn't shake this feeling, even though Ohio State was a buzzsaw and it might have not mattered how many days of rest Oregon did or didn't have. It felt more like rust, and it felt like that was a team in Oregon that was carrying the weight of perfection. Not to be silver lining guy here, but if it's me, I like a refocused A&M. I like an A&M that knows, hey, if we don't bring our best on a certain day, we are more than capable of losing. And you would have hoped the South Carolina game would have been that for you, but the fact that you had the most bitter taste in your mouth with everything coming crashing down, Marcel losing the Heisman, A&M, like you said, losing the SEC title berth and all those things. I like that for this team because now you have very much become familiar with what your fate can be if you don't bring it. So I would hope now that loss is more of a refocuser than okay, now we're leaking oil, losing momentum, and we're ramped up, ready to roll for a Miami team that on the flip side of that, when was the last time they were tested, David? If you want to count Pitt as their best test, I think it's more than within reach to say that, but SMU November 1st, I like A&M being ramped up as opposed to Miami repping some lightweight here the last couple of weeks.
I recognize what I'm about to say is got a huge maroon tint to it, okay? I recognize that, and I'm okay with it, right? I do a show called TexAgs. It is what it is. I think if I'm Ryan Day, I'm like, dude, like, we lost one game to Indiana, now the number one team, and our first matchup might be a team that could have been the number one team in the country at one point during the season, for most of the season, a top 4 seed. We might have to play an A&M team in our first matchup, not a traditional 7 seed, right? A traditional 7 seed, you would think, even though it's only 2 years long of this format, you wouldn't think it'd be a team that for most of the year was the top 3 team in the country, right? Like, that's what our reward is. And, oh, by the way, we're doing it in Texas, where I know we beat Texas last year at AT&T Stadium, but now we got to, like, to me, if I'm Ryan Day, I feel like I got gypped.
And you can say the same if you're Indiana.
Yeah.
Like, hey, congratulations, you got to play Oklahoma or Alabama. Like, if it's me, I'd much rather be Oregon in this spot, be in the 5 seed, and you play a G5 to start, and then you go play a Texas Tech, who Texas Tech's no easy out either by any stretch of the imagination. But if you're drafting one of those 4 teams to play, Texas Tech's probably the first off the board between them, Georgia, Indiana, Ohio State. So I'm with you. Like, I don't know that you get a ton of a reward here for being the number 1 or number 2 seed in this playoff, and it's a blessing for all of us here. They're going to reformat it here, looking like at some point in the next year.
JD, great stuff, man. Thanks so much for your time.
David, appreciate it, man. Again, send me the bicep plan here. We'll talk off the air.
You got it, brother. Have a good one. That's JD PicKell there on the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. When we come back, a short segment, and then Gino Torretta. All right, right now, Rollo Insurance is a group that you're going to get a personal agent's phone number, right? Their direct number, not a call center, not some automated system, not some robot. Like, it's going to be a dude or a lady, I should say. And they're going to answer your calls. They're going to know your situation. They're going to know everything about your family, and they're going to make sure you're in the right insurance plan. The difference is real at Rollo Insurance. They have 60 offices in the great state of Texas, where their headquarters is right down the road here on Highway 6 in College Station. Whether it's home, auto, or business or ranch insurance, start a relationship their expert puts you first in all of their decisions that you make. When you need advice or have a claim, you'll speak directly with someone who knows you by name. That's the Rollo difference. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs. That's rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is 888-44-ROLLO today. All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals that make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them, 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending hotline. We got a text from a 979 that I only read the headline of it. I didn't get to read the whole text. Can you, that first text that came in?
Yeah, we got, unless you want to watch nothing but holiday movies and Christmas cartoons for a month, we better leave the bowl games where they are. And does anyone know what's up with the soccer coach hire?
So last I heard that they were still doing interviews as for the soccer coach. As for the, how many of you are actually watching like Cha-Cha Bear University versus Toledo U? Like,
yeah,
I know there are. I know there are. Right?
A few dozen at least.
By the way, why are we throwing shade on holiday movies?
Yeah, Elf, boom.
But you can only watch that once, right?
I watch it every year.
No, but like once. You can't watch it twice during the same Christmas season.
Oh,
right?
no, right. Yeah, it's a one time.
Home Alone.
1 and 2.
Yeah, not the newer ones. Those
No,
suck. What else? Die Hard.
Yeah, I guess that counts. Hans Gruber over here.
Bad Santa.
Bad Santa.
You can watch that. Okay. Now that's only like 6 hours so far, so you got a lot of time. So I see your point.
Yeah.
But that's where you do the group of 5 playoff tournament. Okay, look, I'm just a man with ideas. Okay, this is what I do. I'm an idea guy, right? I should be on Shark Tank.
Dang.
Is that still a show?
It is.
Okay. Cubes. I know Cubes. I can email him. Actually, I don't know if he changed his email. But yeah, so we do the group of 5 tournament because we don't need freaking Tulane and James Madison playing freaking Oregon and Ole Miss. We don't need that crap. Don't need it. Do this group of 5 playoff where all of us are like, oh, I'm interested. I want to see what happens. And use that voice. We'll hit a break. Heisman Trophy winner Gino Torretta next on TexAgs Live. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Our next guest is synonymous with Miami Hurricanes football, two-time national champion, won the Heisman Trophy award, and also in the College Football Hall of Fame. Our guest on the Buppy's Catering Bartending Hotline, Gino Torretta. Gino, thanks for joining us, man.
How are you guys doing?
Wonderful. Thank you for making a few minutes for us. So I want to go back to Sunday, and you're kind of watching the theater unfold of knowing that Miami beat Notre Dame and should be in, but you saw the rankings the week before and then the unveiling.
I think if they kind of played their hand. I mean, when Yurchek said, "Hey, we're going to re-rank everybody after the conference championship games," and I think they realized that when never in the history of the game, I think that if it comes down to two teams with the same record and you have to go to the head-to-head matchup. And I think that, it's unfortunate for Notre Dame. I think it's unfortunate. I think there's some good teams. Vandy had a case. I think even maybe Texas, with the way they played, against A&M in the last game, had a case to have a shot. But it is what it is. I mean, if the ACC hadn't have had their ridiculous tiebreaker agreement, maybe Miami would have just beat Virginia and they would have been in, and then Notre Dame would have been in as well, and they wouldn't have had to put the two group of 5 teams in at the end. And I think that, it kind of is what it is. Unfortunate because of the 12-team playoffs, I don't think 12 teams can win the playoff. I think there's 10 that can win a playoff and can win a championship, but I don't think that anybody thinks that one of the group of 5 teams that would make it through the gauntlet that they have to go through to win it all.
Gino, do you think Miami is maybe at an advantage because they have SEC Big Ten level talent playing in the ACC, which means from a bodies perspective, maybe they haven't had the same kind of twists and turns that maybe a deeper conference would have, or maybe they're at a disadvantage because they haven't taken on these level of teams?
Well, you're not going to get the benefit of the doubt, that's for sure. I think the ACC is not, strong right now with Florida State, Clemson, and some of the other schools not being, particularly stout. And I think that, but if you look at, the game against Notre Dame, the game against Florida, I mean, that's, they play big boy football, and Miami was able to, handle their business in those games. I think that, listen, I came here with Coach Johnson, and Coach Johnson used to say, don't leave it in the hands of the officials and don't leave it in the hands of voters. And I think that's in today's day and age in college football. Maybe it's okay in the SEC because you're going to get the benefit of the doubt on scheduling at times and record and not in other places. But you just got to go out and take care of your own business and don't wait on somebody to make a decision or pick you as the prettiest girl at the end of the season.
Off topic, but just curious, what do you think happens with Miami in the future? Are they going to stay at the ACC? Do you see a world where they join the Big Ten, maybe even the SEC?
I think there's a lot of things that in college football could and should happen. I think the transfer portal window opening before the national championship game is ridiculous. I think, high school players deciding where they're going to go happening before the transfer portal, before coaches leave. I mean, coaches getting poached in the middle of the season that we, obviously saw this year. I think there's a lot of things that are going to change. I mean, but I'm just curious. Nobody seems like they're in charge. Nobody seems like, hey, this is for the betterment of the game. I mean, really, we shouldn't have conference championship games. Expand the playoff to 16, and there's no reason outside of money that it makes a lot of money for the SEC and these conferences to have these conference championship games. Outside of money, there's not a reason to have it because the committee has said, well, the games don't really matter I should say everybody outside the Big 12 games don't matter. And so if they don't matter, just get rid of them,
Miami at their best, are they capable of winning a national championship in this format?
Healthy and at their best and clean. Beck has got to play clean. I thought early on in the season, I thought he was tentative, but that goes with learning a new offense. The guy didn't practice in the spring at all because of his elbow injury and that. He played better in the last month of the season. And they're going to need all their weapons. I know they got banged up at receiver. They got banged up on the defensive secondary a little bit. So, I would probably say everybody like I said, in the top 10, if they are healthy and they play clean, I think anybody can win a championship.
What do you think about this matchup with A&M?
I think it's going to be tough. I think obviously, they've had experience. I think Mario lost there and then beat A&M at home. So it's definitely, the environment, which, it's kind of an NFL playoff. When you get to this situation in the playoff, you got a home field advantage. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal. I think they're going in healthy. They didn't A&M and Miami didn't have to play in a conference championship game. So they've had some time off to get healthy. But I think that the best part of this matchup, they're both going to have to play their best. I mean, obviously A&M's going to have to play better than they played against Texas to beat Miami. Miami's going to have to play as good as they've played all season. Maybe it is one of those first two games to win this game. But I think it's going to be a hell of a matchup, and it should be fun. I hope that. Listen, I know how Texas weather can get in the winter where you can get kind of a sleet ice thing. And, I hope that isn't a major determining factor. And I hope it's just a clean ball game and we see the best of both of these teams, and where it happens in the 60 minutes, we'll see.
Gino, I think it's going to come down to which quarterback plays the best. And I know when Carson is at his best, he's phenomenal. And Marcel Reed was a Heisman Trophy contender for most of the season until probably the Texas game. How much quarterback always plays a huge role, but in this particular matchup, considering the ability to pass rush on both sides, how big is quarterback play in this one?
Oh, it's massive. It's the most important position. It's why, 3 of the 4 finalists in the Heisman race are quarterbacks. It's, that guy has to get his teams in the right place. I hope that they play free. I hope that, the offensive coordinators on both sides are as aggressive, as they want to be, and let the kids go out there and play. Because I think at times Miami has been, when Carson had some bad games in there, against Louisville and SMU, it's almost like you could tell they were conservative and trying to protect him instead of being, hey, the kid made some mistakes. Let's go out there and eat and let it eat. So, but I think it's huge. But listen, you got our guys, Bain and Mesidor, coming off the edge. I mean, I don't care. No quarterback likes to get hit, and they're going to know their clocks. Both these guys, Reed, their clocks are going to be sped up. And that's the thing of you hope when the clock gets sped up, you're not making mistakes. You hope you're just making decisions quicker and faster and cleaner. But that's we'll see.
As I continue my prep for this game, I'll watch more games. But talk to me about the Miami offensive line. I know line of scrimmage, they're very deep on both sides. But how have they protected Carson this year?
I think they've been phenomenal. I mean, the games I watch, it seems like he can make a ham sandwich and put some mayonnaise, mustard, lettuce, tomato on it, and then make a decision. I think it's that, but I think you're gonna still have to run the ball and to win that battle at the point of attack to open up play action. I think obviously Tony is going to be a big part. I think he's one of the most dynamic players, out there that, hell playing quarterback even. He's thrown some balls where it's just like, he's a receiver. He's been great, but I think they have protected Beck as good as you can protect a quarterback. And, if they do that, then you're relying on the wideouts to get open. And like I said, Miami's had some banged up, guys during the season. But now they seem to be healthy and hopefully they can beat the man coverage and all of that.
feel like Ruben Bain's been in college for 30 years. I remember A&M playing against them a couple years back. I'm looking at his numbers, and again, I haven't done a deep dive, but obviously his first year, 7.5 sacks, and he had, 3.5 this year, only 4.5. Is that not reflective of his dominance this year?
Well, I think it's reflective of teams turning protection, teams chipping, out, and you have to. I mean, you look at his body type, and he's more of probably a 1 or 3 technique on the inside, but he's standing up off the edge. I think he's gotten better and better. I think when he moved to the edge, that was a new position. He, high school, he just dominated in the interior and just was a home wrecker. And then he's off the edge. He's, rushing the passer off that edge. So he's getting used to that. I think the guy that I'm concerned with is a guy that I think he was at NC State, I believe, the Concepcion kid that is, him and Tony. I just want to watch them play. You know what I mean? Because they're just fun to watch. They're 2 great players. They're fast as all get out. They got to be the fastest guys on the field. And I can remember when I saw some of your guys' games, I'm like, wait a sec. Damn, is that the kid that lit us up? Because he lit us up pretty good when he was at NC State. So, I think those are the 2 guys that are going to be they're going to have big parts in the game.
Talk to me about Mario, where he has grown as a head coach at Miami, and maybe some of the areas that you're still trying to evaluate.
Well, I think that every offensive line head coach or back head coach wants to just pound you at the line of scrimmage. And I think that, you want to win the battle at the line of scrimmage, but, you also want to let it loose and take some shots down the field. And I think that Shannon has been great as an offensive coordinator. And hopefully I'm sure that he'll be as aggressive as he can be. But, there are times when I want Mario to just say, hey, man, kind of like when we played together, I'm the one calling the plays, and I'm going deep, and I'm checking, I'm taking a shot. So hopefully, he lets Shannon take a few more shots during the game. But that'll all come by. We'll figure it out on the 20th, right?
Gino, I'm in a unique position because I grew up a fan of both the Hurricanes and the Aggies. I ended up going to A&M. My oldest brother went to Miami, so I watched many of your games. Can you take me through what it was like to be a quarterback in the early 90s at the University of Miami during that era?
Well, it was phenomenal. I think I came here under Coach Johnson, and was pro style. It was like, my recruiting visit was the 4 guys, last 4 quarterbacks on cover of Sports Illustrated, having a chance to win a national championship, and it was come here and win with us or go somewhere else and get beat by us, and that was the mantra. And whether it was the player saying that or my teammates saying that or a coach. And the skills, positions, the speed, and that was totally different coming from Northern California to getting to Miami. And then when Coach Erickson, who recruited me to Washington State, came in, when Jimmy went to the Cowboys my freshman year, to combine the speed of all of those guys on our offense and then run a one-back offense, which nobody was running one-back offense. It was in the Pac-12 back then, and that was it. It was awesome. And then he basically learned our defense. Our defense was basically 4-3, 4 across, and play as fast as you possibly could, and that usually worked. But there wasn't. I can just say as a team, as a quarterback, like we went into every game. It was like, okay, we're going to win the game. It was just by how much. And, it was fun. Not the Orange Bowl, you can see behind me it's gone now, but it was the greatest home field advantage that was there in college. And there was a lot of great times. To be 55-5 in 60 games, and I think we won 2 championships in 5 years, lost my last game, which would have been another. And, I think in 90, when we beat Texas by 40-some points in the Cotton Bowl, we thought we had the best team that year. We didn't we got quote unquote the same situation as some of these teams not getting in the playoffs now. We didn't get in. We thought we had the best team, so we thought we were the best every year in 5 years, and that's pretty special.
Gino, I really appreciate your time here on the program. Was a big fan of your days playing, and I see you're still doing some broadcast work, right? You've got your own site that you cover some games?
Yeah, I have Touchdown Radio. We syndicate a game on national radio every week, so I got a chance to see a lot of these great games, a lot across the country, SEC games, Big Ten games. So a lot of fun to see some of these stadiums that I never got a chance to play in.
Well, Gino, I appreciate it, sir. Thanks so much. I hope to talk to you again.
Anytime.
Thank you. Gino Torretta there on the Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Appreciate his time. That was fun. Throwback to back in the day. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back, we'll talk to Jordan Pugh. We're going to keep it real. Right now, when it comes to preserving your farm, your ranch's legacy, it's not about capturing pretty pictures. It's not about Facebook memories. It's not about just talking about it. It's about being about that life. And Chance McClain has this product with his Heritage Films where they do the story, like the actual Yellowstone story of your land. And, if you have land and you want your future generations who are going to inherit it to know all about it, you get a Heritage Film done. But that's not all. You can do a Heritage Film on the most impactful people in your life. It could be your boss, it could be your mom, it could be your brother, it could be anyone in your family, it could be your own story, because you want to have that captured for the future generation so they can know all about your last name and the origin story. Chance McClain is the best at doing it. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. That is yourheritagefilm.com. And if you want to do a farm and ranch film, just click on that side of the website and call them up too. 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. Write it down. It's going to be a great segment. TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Jordan Pugh, who was very gracious in moving back a little bit. Jordan, I didn't tell you the why behind it, but I got a text that Gino Torretta, the former Heisman Trophy winner, was available to talk a little Miami, and he had a little window. So I jumped at the chance to get him, and I said to see if Jordan can move a little bit. So thank you for doing that.
Hey, man, it's all good. It's all good. That's what good teammates do. Hey, I'm not mad at that. You got to take opportunity when it's there. So, hey, do what you got to do.
Well, hey, all right, so we know it's Miami, and I do this, Jordan. Look, you're my therapist, right? I do this. I do this. I talk myself into why we'll win by 30, why we'll lose by 30, why we'll win a close. It just kind of depends who I'm talking to, how I'm talking to. So when you look at this matchup, here's what people tell me. All right, long question.
Okay.
All right, here's what people tell me. Talent for talent, they can match up with A&M. They can score, they can run, they got some beasts on the defensive side, right? They can cover. They might be one of the top 2 or 3 teams you've played all season long. Okay, that's what I hear. I also think to myself, yeah, but like in youth soccer, when you play in a certain league, you're up for that world. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a world that you're used to playing in that.
Not the soccer reference. Okay, yeah.
But like the ACC, like look, I recognize they can have all the talent in the world, but they don't know the grind. But does the grind even matter at this? This is the longest question ever. Does the grind even matter at this point?
Okay. Yeah. Yes and no. How do I want to answer this, man? That's so many parts to the question. Okay.
We're just talking.
First thing is this. Do we matchup for matchup? I think we're equal across the board as far as matchup for matchup scenario, right? They got explosive playmakers on the outside. We got the same thing. They got a good O-line. We got a good O-line. They have explosive playmakers on the defensive line. Same thing as us. So when you talk about from a matchup standpoint, I think we equal each other out from that standpoint. To me, where you look at this game and where this game is going to be played, which is common thread, is very cliche. It's going to be played in the trenches, right? Whoever can win that trench battle is going to win this football game. Okay, because they can have explosive plays. They can be hit or miss. We've been hit or miss at points this year. I just think that's going to be the X factor going in. When you look at what they have on the defensive line going against our offensive line, that's going to be a hell of a matchup. They got 2 first-round guys on the defensive line, man, that can cause pressure, create chaos. How can we manage that? When you look at us from our defensive line standpoint in our front, man, we got guys that everybody knows about with Cash and Hal, all our guys that are making plays. How do we control the game? The thing that we have got to do is we cannot have a game like we did against Texas defensively, especially from the front, where we didn't have as much of an impact as we've had all season long. I think overall, I think that we are a better team because we have more weapons that we can use, right? Everybody knows about Malachi Toney. He's a big threat on their end. But I think from what we have from a weapon standpoint, we have more bullets in the chamber than they do. I think defensively, I think we play better as a unit than they do. Then ultimately it comes down to quarterback play. How much do you trust Carson Beck? How much do you trust Marcel Reed? It goes back to the X factor with Marcel and his legs. That's the one thing that Carson can't do is he does not have the ability to use his legs as a threat like Marcel does. And I think that opens it up for us offensively, opens up more one-on-one opportunities for our playmakers on the outside. And that can ignite us and light a fire with us offensively. So I think there's a lot of ways that we can win the game. I think Miami's game plan is going to be physical. They're going to go back. They're going to look at a few tapes, right? They're going to look at UTSA. They're going to look at Texas. They're going to see what they did on the perimeter against us in the run game. We've got to be able to shore that up. We got to be able to have the run fits. All that stuff has to be a factor, going into the game because that's what Mario Cristobal is going to want to do. Physical, punch you in the mouth, run it down your throat. So we get all those things squared away. Everything is even from that standpoint. I just think that we have too many weapons. We're too explosive, and I think that's our edge going into the game next weekend.
Jordan, I feel like I've been explaining something, and I don't know if people see it the way I see it, so I'll explain it to you. I did not expect A&M to move up from the 7th spot, okay? I wanted them to. Okay. I was like, I hope the committee, actually does some more research and, looks at some of the analytics, but I didn't expect it to. So I then think that this is, I don't know about the best possible outcome, but a good-ish outcome that you get at Miami team from the ACC. Not from a talent perspective. I recognize this team can beat you. But I'm just saying, like, I didn't want to take on Notre Dame again. Look, and when you're in the 7th spot, you're going to take on one of the host sites or one of the 4 top seeds, right? So then I'm like, if you're able to beat Miami, and it's still an if, but if you're at Kyle Field, even teams, you should win. That's my opinion. If you're able to win, then you're taking on Ohio State. And Ohio State is, yes, number 1 team in the country for most of the year, if not the entire year until the last game. Great. I get it. But you're getting them in Texas if you're able to win. So I'm like, based on where A&M was going to be, I feel like this is not as good of a draw that was possible based on the circumstance of being 7. Agree or disagree?
Well, I never thought about it that way, but yeah, I would agree. When you're looking at, you're looking at essentially 2 home games. You know, you get past this first one, because I'm assuming what the site would be the Cotton Bowl, correct?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, so you're looking at the Cotton Bowl. But at the end of the day, look, when you get into playoff time, you're looking for every advantage possible, right? Can we play at home? Can we get the crowd behind us? How do we handle road environments if we do that? How do we handle travel? What is the pressure of the situation? All that. You're looking for any type of factor that you can play to give yourself the advantage, right? Especially from a coaching perspective. That's how Elko is thinking right now. What are our advantages? How can we flip everything to where we maximize each and every opportunity, whether that be home field, atmosphere, weather, whatever that is. But look, at the end of the day, playoff football boils down to who's more physical than the other player and who makes more play than the other team. That's what it boils down to. When you look at what we have from a matchup standpoint with Miami, I think Miami is very equal to us. But then when you look at the next stage, which would be the Ohio State game, I think that, man, we're on a trajectory winning each and every game where we match up well with the potential teams that we will play. Just when you look at what we have from a roster standpoint, from an ability standpoint, I think everything fits in our favor, plus the X factors of where the games would be located, those different situations in that standpoint. So look, as a coach, man, you're always thinking about those scenarios. But as the football player, as the football guy, the guy who's competitive, it doesn't matter. You have to be able to line it up in any and every situation and win. But playoff football is about physicality. That's the one thing I learned, man, when I played in the league and we were there with the Redskins. That playoff speed and physicality is completely different. It's a different intensity level. And I think, especially with Miami being in it for the first time, we're being in it for the first time, you're going to see a different intensity level. Who can rise to that occasion? That's what I think we got to be able to focus on that standpoint. What do we do well? Focus on us. Who's the more physical team and who can do it for a longer period of time? Once we do that, everything else comes in place, falls in place, and all the X factors now benefit us moving forward.
You think the committee got it right based on the parameters that they have?
No. Look, I don't think the committee ever get it right. I don't know. I'm not a Notre Dame fan. I appreciate and I respect the game that they play, but I don't know how you put James Madison in. That's mind blowing to me. I understand that you have the group of fives and all that, but between that, Texas, I don't know why anybody's not talking about Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is a 10-2 SEC team with 2 losses, one to Alabama, one to Texas. And how are they not put in? Make that make sense, right? If anybody has an argument, to me, they're the one who has the argument, right? But I think when you're putting people into a room and everything is based off opinion, you're going to get scenarios like that. I don't think there's a clear criteria as far as the 12 best, right? But with that being said, I don't care because Texas A&M is in the tournament. We got a bracket slot and we're playing up and we're lining up in Kyle Field. So now it's just about us. It's about what we do. It's about proving to everybody that we are fully capable of making a run. I think that we are the dark horse in the tournament. And I know that some people think that's a biased take, but when you look at what we do, when you look at the type of talent that we have, when you look at how we're playing as a team, the body work that we put together, if we get things clicking on all cylinders, we can beat anybody in the country. And I think having that early round game at home, I think that's huge. Kyle Field's going to be rocking no matter what time. We can play 7 a.m. It'll be packed out, people going crazy, right? So now if you can carry that momentum, you make big plays, you get the buzz going, you're scoring well, you got things flowing, the rhythm, and you take that into the next week, man, anything can happen from that standpoint. So I'm excited about what's going on. But, man, as far as the committee, it'll never be right, man, as long as people are making subjective opinions sitting in that room.
How have your expectations for this A&M team evolved? So, like, you have your preseason expectations, you have the 11-game win streak expectations. You know, after LSU, everybody thinks we might win the whole darn thing, right? Then you lose to Texas, and everything is kind of derailed. Where is Jordan Pugh with your expectations for this team this year?
Well, you go at the beginning of the season, I always said that it's never been a talent issue with us. It's always been who is the person that can take all the ingredients and make the best meal. Now we got that with Elko. Then as the season progresses, right, you see some things that we need to shore up, especially in the first quarter of the year. We shore that up. All of a sudden, you start seeing us win in multiple ways as well. So we went on the road against Notre Dame. We have comeback victories, tight-knit victories. Some days where the offense doesn't play well, defense plays well, vice versa. So you've seen us win. The expectation has always been the championship standard. And I think a lot of the times where you bring up that battered Aggie syndrome is guys, they're waiting on the downfall. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do each and every week is, hey, the expectation is championship. The standard is this. And I think that we have been operating on at that level. And Elko has done a good job of creating that type of atmosphere and that culture. Now, when you talk about my expectations for the team, it has not changed from, especially since that South Carolina game. Seeing how we fought back, seeing how we came back in one of the most dire situations that we've had all year, to come back and win that game, that showed me a different type of fortitude and mettle that this team has had, the resolve and the grit, right? So now, taking that into that Texas game, coming off that loss, it was disappointing because you had an opportunity, man, to do something that we've never done. But also at the same time, if you look at the silver lining in it, sometimes the loss is the best thing that happens to you because it recalibrates where you are. Sometimes when you're on a win streak, I'm not saying that this team got lackadaisical because that's not an Elko football team, but sometimes the smallest of details can go overlooked because you've experienced so much success. And now you sit back and you watch the weekend that you were supposed to be playing in, and you didn't participate in that. I think that resets, that recalibrates the team, and I think we have everything that we need to make a championship run. It's on us. Everything that we do is built on us. If we do what we're supposed to do, we handle our business, there's no reason we can't hold that trophy up at the end.
That is Jordan Pugh here on TexAgs Live. Jordan, we appreciate your time, man. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week to really break down the Miami matchup.
Yep, let's do it.
All right, man. There he is, Jordan Pugh, Puppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back. Jamie Morrison will join us. Chit-chat about the Sweet 16 and hopefully way much more than just that. All right, we'll hit a break. But before that, Twin Liquors time. They want to make sure to celebrate every sip this holiday season. You can do that with Twin Liquors and their 100 locations across Texas. They're in your neighborhood. You can shop online for pickup and for delivery. And they also have same-day delivery for just $5. So you can enjoy it all. Gifting made easy with a complimentary bag and bow and gift wrap. You can create your own custom gift basket online or in-store. And they always have the deals of the week. Every Thursday, a fresh selection of items offered through a fantastic price. Shop these deals in-store or online. And if you're a wine lover, they've got the Twin Liquors holiday wine sale going on now. 20% off 6+ bottles of wine. Shop now through January the 3rd. Pick up one new cocktail combo pack available at Twin Liquors. It is the place to go. TwinLiquors.com. Check them out. As a reminder, the final segment of the program brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Let's turn our attention to a little Aggie volleyball. Back-to-back Sweet 16s. Jamie Morrison's in studio with us to talk all about it, looking at the future. Louisville coming up.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm craving pizza, but...
Right?
I'm great, and we're still dancing, and there's 16 teams in the country that get to go to work this week, and we're one of them, and I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the work put in by my staff. I'm thankful for the work put in by our players, by the support of this university, and we're really excited to go represent Texas A&M in the Sweet 16.
Well, I'm hoping that next week we can talk about new highs, right?
Yep.
But just for where we are right now, just the fact that this is the first time this program's gone to back-to-back, and you are the captain of the ship, and you have a team that responds to your message, and it seems like when their adversity comes, you all know how to pivot through it. How proud of you of this group are you right now?
Like, huge. And I actually didn't know that it's the first time in the history that school's been to 2 Sweet 16s. And when I took the job, it was with the vision of bringing this back to the traditions that it had, and that was a consistent tournament team. And I was actually a little surprised when it had never been to 2 Sweet 16s in a row. But for me, this is about, I don't know, the development of the people within it. I want them to develop as human beings and volleyball players, and if they want to go play professionally, to be able to go do that. And with that comes sustained success for me, and that's a huge piece of it. It's not just, I don't know, a one-year wonder. I want this to be a program that's seen as the place where, A, if you come here as an athlete, you're going to be developed. I think it's seen that way now. But secondly, from the public of, we're going to go to the Sweet 16, we're going to go to the Elite Eight, we're going to go to the Final Four, and we're in contention to win a national championship year in and year out. And I think we have that capability this year, and we're going to keep sustaining that in the future.
I like to often compare you guys to what's happening with football, because I think, and tell me if I'm wrong here, your team enjoys being the underdog in a way, like as much success as you've had, but like maybe enjoy is not the right word, but there's a certain level of let's go and prove the world.
Yeah, no, the reason why I paused is my biggest concern coming into this year is last year we really enjoyed being the underdog. It's so much easier to play as the underdog, and we're going into this weekend, we're the lower seed, we're playing Nebraska, like we're the underdog right now, so like there's nothing to lose, we might as well go. But I think the difference is this year, like it was like last year was like, well, we got nothing to lose, let's go. This year, I think we're good enough to go do this. And there's a confidence with it. So like when you said that, I'm like, I feel like we are the underdog.
Just because of a number.
But there's a number there. And like, again, like you're going to go, they're really good volleyball teams. Like we're going to go in there, we're going to have to battle and we're going to have to play like there's nothing to lose. But I think there's a belief within us that like we're good enough to be in Kansas City in a week. Like we're good enough for me to be coming in here next week talking about whoever that semifinal opponent is. So I think that belief is 100% there. And they enjoy, I think, sitting in the discomfort that comes along with the NCAA tournament is the thing I would say I think they're enjoying. So we go back to the TCU match and we lose the first set. And I think there's a lot of teams that would be like, oh my, we're at home, we're the higher seed, we're supposed to win this. And we were just dialed in on what do we need to do to win. And we went out there and we played competitively as ourselves at the beginning of that and cracked open a lead. And then they came back and then all of a sudden we had to do it again. And we did that throughout. And we got to the fourth set and we were down 24-21 and same thing. There was no panic. It was belief. And Tatum, and I don't think she gets enough credit for what she's done this year. Went back to the service line and did what she's been doing over and over again and putting in good serves and coming and bringing us back on a nice serving run. So I'm just in those moments, I think we fully believe that we're capable of going out and winning.
Well, I think that TCU match alone is kind of who you all are, right? Like the ability to knock a team out, the ability to see this huge hurdle that like it's 24-21 and you lock in and you find a way.
Yeah. No, that's been the whole season. And I've said it, and I had the realization last year when I looked at what Kentucky did and winning the SEC championship and the consistency that takes. And if you look back at this season, it's not like we blew out everybody in the conference to go 14-1. It was these tight matches against Tennessee where we lost the first set and we came back in the second and got dialed in and then broke them over time. And that's what it takes. I think everyone looks at sports and it's like, we're going to go break this team with one, I don't know, huge play in football. But it's really the grinding that happens in every single point, every single play that causes teams to be great. Like, can you sit in that? Can you be okay with the fact that I'm going to be uncomfortable because I have to perform at my best right now or be myself in that moment? And can you do it over and over and over again for 2.5 hours? And can you do it over and over again for 7 days a week? Because then it's the dedication that it takes at practice, the dedication that it takes to take care of my body, to sleep, to do all these things that cause you to be really, really good.
It's a privilege to have time under tension, especially for these moments, right?
Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about privilege lately. Yeah, it is. I've been thinking about privilege versus rights. Yeah, it's privilege, and we talked about that. And it's not even a privilege. It's what we do it for. Like, this was my talk before we got into the game of like, I was out of college athletics, and if you see me enjoying myself on the sideline in these big moments, it's not because it's like a show or an act. It's because I came back to coaching because I missed the competitive arena. I missed being in that arena every single night. I missed the feeling of, hey, we have to go win this match. We have to be good in this moment, because like that's what we do this for. Like, if we do, it's like it's really hard if that's not what we're doing it for. It's way too hard for anything else. We enjoy being on the edge of win-loss. We enjoy pushing our body and our mind to the limits. We enjoy pushing our ability to play the sport that we love to the limits. And if you can do all those things, then all of a sudden, this is the thing that you're doing it for, to go step out into that thing. And I told our players, like, it's kind of like being at a wedding. At some point, take a step back and stop thinking about siding out and look at the environment we're in. Like, look at the 12th man. Look at like what you're getting to do right now, because this thing is a privilege that we should enjoy when we get to step out and do it.
What can you tell me about Louisville?
They're good. Well coached, and they had a coaching change this year, but Dan was there as the assistant coach, and I think he's I don't know, he's one of my people. Like, we did a USA event where we were supposed to room together so we could just talk volleyball. And he knows the game. He knows how to train. His team's playing well. They play good volleyball. They vary their routes a little bit on offense, so we're going to have to make sure there's some adjustments there. They have some really good volleyball players. Their outside hitter I coached at U19s, and one of the my favorite competitors I've had. So I'm looking forward to a battle against them. But I think it's going to be two really good volleyball teams going at it.
How do you simulate pressure? Like, what do you guys do? What does the team do?
I think the number one thing you have to do is you have to get your team to love competing. And the reason why I say that is it's not just the match. They have to love competing in practice, and that has to matter. Like, when it gets to 25-25 at practice, it has to be like, I want to win this. And then you get those competitive moments at practice every single day. So most of our drills at practice, they start at 18-18. Sometimes it's 22-22. Sometimes we'll not have the scoreboard turned on, and we'll have it hidden so that they know what the score is. And there's a little bit of tension of like, am I going to win this right now? Is this the last point, or do I have 7 points left? And there's nothing quite like how do you simulate it? You go play as many matches as you can, and you put yourself in difficult situations so that you get used to being in that. But if you can create a practice environment where people want to win, where that matters to them, it gets to 25-25, and all of a sudden it's not quite what it would be in the NCAA tournament at 21-24, but it gets a little bit similar to the point where I want to win this, and I feel a little something in that moment that I need to step out there and go do what I do.
Last night I was watching a reel, and it was CP3, Chris Paul, talking about how he and Kobe, like some of their teammates, would hate them because All-Star game, preseason game, practice, they went 100 miles an hour, and like people were like, just relax, dude, it's just a practice. And he's like, no, that's how I'm wired.
Yep. And when I was with the national team, we wanted someone to come in and talk before one of the Olympics. And Hugh McCutcheon, who's my mentor, was the head coach of the team, and he had done some work with USA Basketball, and he reached out to them. I think he was asking for like Magic or Bird, and like, you want Kobe? And he was like, no, you want Kobe. So Kobe actually came out and talked to our team.
Wow.
But the privilege piece, like where I come from that, like there's a story I tell every team that I coach. If you want to hear it, you got to come play for me. I don't give it out for free. But just that really impacted me in that of like why we do what we do and what he feels when he's stepping out there with 1.7 seconds left on the clock of what went through his head. And like, there's a little bit of that of like, this is a privilege that we get to go do this moment.
And he also says he's done it 1,000 times. You've put your team in that position 1,000 times.
Yep. And it really is that. It's and again, like going back to like the 1,000 times, it's not just 1,000 times of practice, but if you look at all of the hard moments in our matches throughout the season, those are also practice reps for this of what we're doing right now. That if you can flip that switch and change it from like, I don't want to avoid these difficult things, or I want to avoid being down 24-21, but like if you can get through that earlier on in the season, and again, I don't want to say it doesn't matter as much, but if you lose that match, it's not the end of your season. You're preparing yourself for this moment over here. So I think when we look back, I talk a lot about the cookie jar of like all of these things, and I'm a David Goggins guy. Like he talked about that of like all these difficult moments that I've had, I put them in here that I've overcome, so that when things get difficult again, I can pull them back out and be like, hey, we are prepared for this moment. And I think my team feels like that right now. You saw it against TCU, and I'm guessing you'll see it against Louisville on Friday.
Jamie, who's going to carry the boats?
You are a Goggins fan. Talk about that later.
All right, before I let you go, what does the next couple of days look like for you? And like, are you in a different like stress level, or you're kind of zened out? Like, where are you?
No, I'm not a different stress level. I really, again, going back to the beginning of this, matches, like I came back for this. I came back, like I had a nice job where I got done at 5 o'clock of the day and I could close my laptop and not think about what I do. But I realized at that moment I wanted something that I could obsess about, that I couldn't turn off. That, like, again, what does my day look like? I usually wake up at 3 o'clock because my brain starts thinking about something and I'm wired. I work for 3 hours and I go back to bed and take an hour nap and then I go. But it's try to make our program as good as it possibly can be. And there's a lot that goes on with that. Like I don't know, like I'm trying to tinker with some things that happened. That was the first time I've ever hosted an NCAA tournament weekend. And I was like, we can do some things better in that, just in terms of fan experience and things along those lines. So there's a piece of that that's going on now too, but and that's a normal week. It's how do we find small ways to improve our program? How do we find small ways to improve our team? How do we prepare for the next opponent, which is Louisville?
Good luck, my friend. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Jamie Morrison here on TexAgs Live. We'll come back with a very short final segment. It's TexAgs. All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. If your organization or your business is looking for an opportunity to engage with Aggies, check out the Association of Former Students. They bring Aggies of all ages together during their marquee events held throughout the year. We're talking Aggie Ring Day, All Aggie Hullabaloo, and The Gathering. They all welcome tens of thousands of guests, and there are many sponsorship and vendor opportunities to get your brand in front of those attendees. There's also advertising opportunities in both the Texas Aggie Magazine and the Aggie News newsletter, which are seen by over 230,000 people. So if your business is ready to engage with Aggies, choose a partner with the organization that's been supporting the Aggie Network for over 140 years. For more information on options available through the association, please email sponsorships@aggienetwork.com. All right, we go back to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin, what do you have for us?
Well, it's kind of just a funny little thing to discuss here, but it started with the the people in the comments wanting more OB on the show, on B Team, etc.
The OB, like the fact that he has paid these people to make these comments every show, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
Figurine champ for sure leading the charge.
Well, Randy Trujillo, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, he is leading now this charge that there should be a celebrity wrestling match between it's Obi and Bronny versus you and Lucci. I'm not sure why that's the matchup because it doesn't seem fair.
Couple things. I have turned over a leaf. I'm not into fighting. Okay, I don't want I don't want to kill an old man. All right, like I don't want to kill OB, and I don't want Bronny to get killed by us either. It's not fair. It wouldn't last. Like I'll run around the ring. Come on, Bronny. Bah! Death.
Well, I mean,
death punch.
Kurt Inrod thinks that he saw OB take out a pack of wild wolves with a single pencil. So.
Yeah, on a video game, not in real life. OB strikes me as the kind of person who would stick his arm out and just go in circles, punching people as they come around. Like, brrr. That's what he would do.
I can see it.
All right, that's how we chose to end the show. That's great. That's the value you brought to the show, Justin.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh my God! I mean, we could have talked football again. We could have talked bowl season. My awesome idea. We could have talked about Le'Veon Moss and Reuben Owens having the entire running back committee hopefully healthy. EJ Smith, right? Like Morrow, Murray. Come on. It's all right. We talked a fake fight that'll never happen. Or maybe it's already happened.
Oh. Wow.
First rule about Fight Club.
Don't talk about it.
Yeah. Can you give me some football thought before we go?
Yes,
Anything.
yes.
Just one thought.
No, I got you. Kendall says, Carson Beck is the best quarterback the Aggies will play so far. He is a scary pocket passer. Yeah. Do you think he kind of fits in that mold as the best quarterback we played this season?
Passer of the football? Probably. I mean, Lenore Sellers still scares me.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
Even Taylor Green, I think, is valuable up there.
So, all right, that's going to do it for TexAgs Live here on a Tuesday. Tomorrow on the program, we'll have guests like John Harris.